Testing 1 2 3. 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 Okay. Okay. We're going live now. Okay, we're live. Okay, there we go. All right. Look, we are live. Hello, hello, hello. Pseudoscience. How's it going? Welcome in. I got to remember to shout out members of the membership clubs, and I got to compile a friends list of just people I will shout out every day. So hope everybody had a good weekend. It was an eventful weekend. We'll say it like that. So I hope it was good despite the circumstances. So welcome in. Hello, Gems. Good to see you. So today is an exciting day. We're going to have Christ Before Jesus here in about an hour and 10 minutes, something like that. So we're just going to do this for a bit, then I'm going to change the topic just slightly. I might change it in the middle. Oh, hey, you're here. Okay. Christ Before Jesus will be here around 5-ish Central Time. So that's when we expect him. And so we'll just do some things for the first hour. We'll do take some guests for the first hour and that. Taking a break. Brian, a friend, are getting some things done. Very good. Hide your mom. CBJ is coming. Exactly. Everybody hide your moms. CBJ is coming. Exactly. So CBJs will be here in about an hour and 7 minutes ish, give or take. So pretty exciting. So hope everybody's Monday is going well. Hello, Reckless Religion. Good to see you. One of our YouTube subscribers. One of our YouTube membership subscribers, I should say. And we got Pseudo V Science, another YouTube membership subscriber. Ethereal Ember, another YouTube membership subscriber. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to see you. And thank you for sharing out the live. So maybe a little bit slow going today because we've got, I think Monday is like big creator day. Excuse me. So the bigger creators are on at this time of day. So we're looking for evidence that God is good. That's what we're looking to talk about today. And I missed you too. Yeah. Hey, Rainbow Ash. It's good to see you, friend. And Resist Oppression, it's good to see you. One of our Discord regulars, one of our strong Discord contributors. Oh, thank you. You were a peach. Just got to say, you were a gem. I am very, very, very fortunate to have such great folks who come and see me and all that stuff. And, folks in the Discord, we're building a nice little community here. And so I'm really, really just grateful just to be a part of it. Number one. Well, thank you. And yeah, and you've got your fur babies, your spider, baby spider, your baby scorpion, your arachnid baby, and your cat and dog babies. So that is great to hear. So yeah, we are looking for evidence that God is good today. That's what we're looking to talk about. Let's see. And TikTok is just all messed up today. Yeah, so we got Ian is on. I think that's our big one. But there's some other creators on, so it's usually pretty busy on Mondays. So yeah, let's get this thing started. So let me check okay. So far nobody on the YouTube side. So no guests on the YouTube side. So we got, if you're on YouTube and you want to talk, you can use the link that's right above my head to join up. You are on TikTok and you are a believer in the God of the Bible, the Torah, or the Quran. Same with YouTube. If you're a believer in the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, and you are at least 18, please request up and let's talk. Love to hear your evidence. How did I get so good at debating? Well, thank you for the compliment, first of all. I take that as a compliment. And I think it's just repetition, just doing this over and over again. Yeah, the US, man, TikTok is a mess, isn't it? It has been a mess. I know a lot of creators were complaining yesterday. I usually take the weekends off, for family and whatnot. And, but if, say, my wife has plans or something, I'll jump in and, jump on TikTok if I'm not doing anything, but not to be this weekend, which is fine. Love spending time with family. But we just were relaxing and, we were on and off TikTok and it was messy. So messy. Very, very messy. So I don't know. It must be the takeover. That's the only thing I can really think of. All right. CBJ will be here to co-host in an hour. I'm so excited. Really, really excited. Yay. Thank you. Thank you. And, I think these conversations are even more important to have, given what was going on over the weekend. And I wish I was more brushed up on, comfortable enough to talk politics. I would do it. But I feel like I have to, have my ducks in a row. And I think I got my ducks in a row as far as this is concerned. Yeah. So I'm a little bit, I don't know. It's like something in my throat today. And my daughter got sick over the weekend. I don't think I caught anything from her. So we'll see. All right. So you're rusty on politics and I'm rusty on the Bible. Let's go. Exactly. Yeah. But iron sharpens iron, right? Iron sharpens iron. You will say you like these streams because it keeps you away from politics. Okay. Well, yeah, there's that too. So I don't know. So there's no more iron left. Yeah. That's right. Yeah, it is. We got to talk about it. We do. And you know, just especially crazy things that are going on. Hey there.
Hey there, my friend. How are
I'm
you?
doing well. How you doing,
I
friend?
know, yeah. So, it's interesting that you bring up the politics, and I
Yeah. Hang
think
tight, Edgar.
with me,
Hmm.
um, and I'm just gonna be quick because I know you got people, but like the thing with like my son going through this fear of hell nightmares and stuff, and what it has done to my own child.
Yeah.
It's hard for me as a mother because I want to write, like, I want legislation. Like, I
Yeah.
want things, because kids, they don't have the capacity to understand that shit.
Yeah.
And it's just
It's
so
tough. You're right.
hard.
Yeah, you're right. It is. And it's kind of the way I look at it. It feels like we've got um we've got like a knife in our back right now.
Yes.
But we've also got like we've got the flu, we've got acne, we've got, like all these problems that were going on. And it's like so many things we got to address, and we're hurting right
Yeah.
now. And
Yeah.
so it's like deciding, okay, what's the knife in the back? I'm not sure if, if teaching hell is the knife in the back right now. It feels like,
Right.
yeah, we got some.
And what pisses me off is
Yeah.
like politicians can write bills all fucking day long, but when it comes to the American people, when we want our voices to be heard, oh no, that doesn't matter because money's not involved or
Exactly.
something else isn't fucking involved.
Exactly.
And it's just wild to me because, I'm not. I think I've talked to you about this before, that I need to start stepping into the political realm because I haven't been into the political realm even when I was a believer.
Yeah.
And, now that things have been happening and me going through the religious trauma and now my son, it's time to step up.
Yeah, for sure. We spent me and Mrs. Verify spent like almost the whole weekend listening to things on TikTok, right? Well, we were watching, all the stuff going on Saturday, and then we had to go out for a while just to kind of decompress, and then we're back at it on Sunday. But it was all a lot of like political lives on Sunday, a lot of them. So I would say that's probably the place to start. It's just watching these lives, and then you'll get all the talking points, and and just see, where everything is, and that's how you can absorb information. But yeah, definitely, I think it is important to talk about this stuff, and but at the same time, this is my niche, and and I don't want to blow that up either. But I think
I get it.
Yeah, but I think talking about these things, yeah, you're definitely right. It is important. So,
Yeah.
all right.
It's just one of those things.
Yeah.
And I think that my dog would make a better God than Yahweh. Saying.
Just saying. Just saying. Well, hey, you heard it from Reckless Religion. So, hey, if you're not following Reckless Religion, you ought to. You absolutely should. So I know you're trying to build your channel and you're trying to build your presence. So yeah, let's throw Reckless Religion some likes and some follows and some hearts if you can spare any. I know times are tough right now, but if you can, but I think that would go a long way.
One of these days, I want to get you on my podcast because you have a hell of a story.
Yeah,
Dad.
One of these days. Yeah, one of these days.
Yes.
Right on.
All right, I'll let somebody else come up, my friend.
Okay. See ya. See ya, friend.
See ya.
All right. And yeah, she does. And not only that, but we have Girls Gone Godless. I saw them jump into the live. So y'all need to find Girls Gone Godless, Girls Gone Godless, Triple G. I like to call them Triple G, but find Girls Gone Godless. Goodness, I can't say it today. Girls Gone Godless, and in the list of in the chat list, and follow them because they're fantastic as well. Critically Crystal J, it's so good to see you. That's another one we need to follow. So we got so many good people here today. So very happy to see that. Very, very happy. Okay. Wow, 11,000 likes already. All right, well, let's get things rolling. So let's bring up Edgar, the life coach, to be our first guest. All right, let's start. How's it going?
Hey, it's going good. How you doing?
Doing well. Thanks for asking.
What? Yeah, no problem. What name should I call you, or how do you like to be
Trust.
Trust? Okay, Trust.
Yeah.
Good to meet you.
Yeah, good to meet you. So just for TikTok terms of service, you're at least 18, just verifying?
Yes, I am.
Fantastic. All right. And which God do you believe in? The God of the Bible, Torah, the Quran?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. I personally I was an atheist for most of my life,
Mhm.
and then started doing some research, and I was definitely I kind of became more of agnostic.
Mhm.
So now I am a Christian. I do consider myself a Christian who believes in the Bible.
Interesting.
But I am interested in your prompt, right? I'm an atheist. What's your best evidence that God is good?
Yeah. What's your best evidence? Yeah. That's what I'm looking
So I
for.
like that. I like the way you pose that. But my question is like, when you say what's your best evidence that God is good, are we assuming that God is not good, or what is the assumption there?
Just taking it from an I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. Because I was in that same position for, I don't know, 15, 16 years.
Mhm.
I personally did not think God was good.
Mm.
With a lot of things that I lived through in my childhood,
Yeah.
a lot of abuse, a lot of homelessness. My stepfather used to tie me in the basement to a dog chain. It was a horrible life, and I said,
Yeah,
"Well,
that's
where is
terrible.
God? Right?
Yeah.
Where is God in that situation?"
Yeah. I hear that.
And
Yeah.
I think it's a valid question, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
Because you'd agree there are a lot of people still going through stuff like that, right? Happens a lot.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
None of us are in disagreement that evil is all over.
Yeah. So what changed your mind?
Well, what changed my mind was I started to realize that there had to be a reason why these things were happening, and I was attributing them all to God,
Mhm.
which is why I was an atheist. Like, well, if there is a God and He's supposed to be good, then why am I going through this situation, right?
Yeah.
And then I realized that wasn't God's fault; it's people's fault because we all have a free will.
Now, let me ask you a question real quick, just to kind of clarify. When you said you were an atheist, what did being an atheist mean to you? Like in terms of as far as
Well,
God was concerned.
as far as God's concerned, I didn't believe God existed.
Okay. So
I
you
didn't think there
didn't
was a
believe
God.
God existed. Okay.
Right. I didn't
So
believe there was a God.
okay, so it sounds like what you're saying is that if there was a God and these things were happening, then it had to be God's responsibility. I think
Well,
that's
people were always coming to the house and prophesying
oh
this
yeah,
God.
happens to me all the time, like every week. Yeah, I got people
And
knocking
I'm
on my
like,
door.
okay, so you say there's a God, and so the reason I was an atheist was like, so if there is a God, why am I going through this, and why are people doing this to me? Especially, and I'll even go a little further, the people that were doing this to me were allegedly godly people.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the issue was what you asked me the question, well, what changed my mind? Well, what changed my mind was I realized that I couldn't attribute all of that to God because people have a free will. And this was still while I was an atheist. I said, if
Mm-hmm.
there is a God, assuming there is a God, is it really God's fault, or is it these people's fault? Because is God, if there's no free will, right, then we are pre-programmed. Everything's flux. We could even argue nature versus nurture. We can argue all kinds of scientific claims.
Yeah.
But then at the end of the day, I'm like, well, if we are all flux and everything's predetermined, then who's acting on my behalf to think these things?
Right. Well, if that's the case, because I mean, there are two schools of thought on that, right? There's the predeterminism school of thought, and then there's like the libertarian free will school of thought, right? And honestly, even like neuroscientists are split on the idea. So my end, as far as free will goes, honestly, I'm agnostic to it. I really don't know. Um, I would say though that honestly, the idea of free will with an omnipotent, omnibenevolent, and omniscient God doesn't make sense because you can't be all the omnis and then have free will at the same time. It just doesn't work. And so, why do you think though that? I mean, do you believe in the all omni God?
I believe God is omnipresent. I believe God is omniscient, and I believe God is omnipotent. I
Okay.
do believe that.
Okay.
Um,
So why do you
and
think that? Yeah, why do you think that an all omni God and free will work together?
well, the point is, let's go back to if we could backtrack, and this is probably not going to be solved in 25 minutes. And just a disclaimer, I'm not here to try to persuade you. I'm literally just sharing my experience because I want to. I'm curious what your experience is. It seems like we may have walked the same mindset of things in the past.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So
I mean, I was a
so
Christian at one time, and I became an atheist. So
okay,
you and I kind of went the opposite way,
we
and
cross paths.
yeah, we crossed paths, and in that sense, yes, we went
Okay,
that way. And I had I experienced a lot of like SA as a kid,
okay,
and so there was that, and and I went through a very like good chunk of my adult life. I had some struggles with like addiction and things of that sort. So that's kind of where I was coming from, and so I
okay.
was a Christian for over 30 years, and then you know was deconstructing for a long time, and then finally realized about 13-14 years ago, somewhere in there, that yeah, I don't believe in any gods. And
So
so I think it took until like relatively recently to really come out with it.
okay.
But it had been sitting in my mind for a long time.
I'm sorry you went through that trust,
Oh, likewise
and
to
I
you.
also
Yeah.
want to say
Thanks.
I just want to say that I applaud you for even bringing that up publicly here. It takes a lot of courage to say those things.
Thanks. Well, yeah,
Um,
thank you. I appreciate that. And
yeah,
so yeah, I mean, I'm right now I feel like I'm living my best life. I'll be 13 years sober next month. So,
awesome.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm um I got a family that I love, who loves me. I got a nice tight circle of friends. I got a good job. I do this. Yeah, I mean, by all
That's
accounts and
great.
purposes, yeah, things look pretty good for me. So it's funny because my life got better when I realized I didn't believe in God. Got
Wow.
way better.
So you and I we have opposing uh, not I'm not going to say opposing thoughts, but opposing
Like outcomes.
situations
Yeah.
with the same. We have the opposing situation with the same outcome, which is interesting
Yeah.
because after I left atheism, well, I went through this journey. I went kind of down the rabbit hole because I ended up reading the Quran, some of the hadiths. I dove deep into Islam.
Same.
Then I dove deep into Buddhism.
Same.
Then the whole New Age thing, which seemed to be a little appealing.
Same.
Yeah, yeah. Then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go even further and learn how to speak Hebrew.
Oh, I didn't go that
So
far. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I picked that up. So I'm a multilinguist, but I wanted to really, I really my goal was to make an affirmation that all of this was false. Like this is just false. But I found myself in a conundrum because some of the things that I found were archaeologically evidential, and I'm like, oh, this is strange. But I started to shift my thought process back to our original conversation, where these evil things that were happening, I could not attribute them to to an almighty God. It
Yeah.
had to have been the accountability had to be there for someone, and maybe my background in law is what grounded me on that
Mm,
because if you have a victim, you have to have an oppressor, right? You have to have a suspect or
sure.
someone guilty of committing that violation or
Yeah.
crime, right?
Mhm.
And so in my search for truth, I was trying to find in this very similar life to what you brought up earlier, that you were willing to share publicly, very similar to that I went through. And I was like, well, who is guilty of of this victimization that I lived through? Is God guilty of it if I don't believe there is a God? Because that's why I didn't want to believe in a God.
Well, I will say, yeah. I mean, everybody's responsible for their own actions, right? We got to hold people accountable. What
Mhm.
I think from my perspective, though, Would you say that all suffering is necessary or no?
I believe that, well, when you say necessary, it's almost
Like it has to happen.
like it has to happen. You're implying it must happen. I I believe
Well, does
that
any of it have to happen?
I believe suffering has to happen
Okay. In all cases
because
or yeah.
no, it has to happen in a general term
Okay.
because of that free will component, unfortunately.
Okay. All right.
Because I believe that every human being must make. So let's define free will. In my definition of free will is having the ability to choose without third party influence or coercion.
Okay.
Would you agree? Would you
Yeah.
agree with me?
Yeah, sure. We'll take that. We'll take that definition. So now we kind of get back to the other point is under that definition, under this framework you're building for me.
Hmm.
So can we think of any instances in which suffering is not necessary?
Well, there are plenty of instances where suffering is not necessary.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And so I can think of some in which humans have nothing to do with it. It has nothing to do with free will. So what's the purpose of those instances of suffering?
So you now we're talking about a natural evil, is what I'm assuming you're bringing to the table, such
It
as
could be.
tsunamis, cancer, things that are out of our control.
Yeah, there's genetic disorders that children are born with. Yeah, babies born with cancer. We can go that route. We can also go with animal suffering. Like you would agree that there's a lot of suffering that animals endure. That
Sure.
What's the point of all that?
Oh yeah, and then I read some of those books too, and I read Darwin's account on that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's look, there are things that I think you and I will never have the answer to. We'll be long gone maybe before anyone does.
Well,
But
I think in a naturalist framework, or like if we're talking about evolution through natural selection, when it's
okay.
by the laws of physics,
Familiar
all
with
that
that?
stuff, we have
Mhm.
explanations for all that. Yeah, we have explanations for like animal suffering or genetic disorders, babies born with cancer. It goes exactly as expected. See that, and that's what I mean. Under a God that's all omni, makes no sense.
Well, if we the reason why, or the only way actually to consume the fact that if we're going to go down the road of believing in a God, then we'd have to also absorb the implications of that. And we'd have to go back to where that became an issue, where the natural evil came from. But that would be the theological route. And I was trying to
Sure.
more establish an outline of where you are with your belief as opposed to where I am with mine. Because even if I present to you a theological argument, you may not even acknowledge it.
Well, I think in this sense, we might be muddying the water with theological versus moral, because I think I'm focused really on the morality aspect of God allowing
Let's go down.
God
let's go
allowing
down.
unnecessary suffering. Like
Let-
here's a great example.
Sure.
Is it answer me this, because like you said, you have some law experience, like a background in law.
Yes, I got about 16 years background in law.
Perfect. So what legal principle justifies punishing innocent people for other people's crimes?
There is no legal principle for punishing innocent people for
I
others' crimes.
I totally agree, wholesale agree. So is there and so from a moral aspect, what moral principle justifies punishing innocents for other people's crimes or sins, if you
Zero.
want to throw that
Zero.
in there? Yeah,
Zero.
zero. Okay.
Right.
Because we see this a lot as far as, if you throw in an omni God, all omni God, that's what we see. Now, if you're a close follower of the Bible, you see it all over the Bible. I can bring up multiple instances of people who were, by all accounts, innocent, and they were punished for something that they didn't do. So that's one thing, right? And then if you go through the genocide stories, are we really seriously saying that babies were evil and sinning? You know what I mean? Like, why did they all have to get genocided? So we look at it from that perspective. The flood. It wasn't just humans who died in the flood, right? If that really happened, it was animals that died in the flood.
Mhm.
Why?
Mhm.
What was the point of that? Their animals shouldn't have died in the flood because they had nothing to do with this, right? If it was man's sin that did this, What was the point of them dying? There's no point to that. And then if we even look at today, just in our world right now, if there is a God, what justifies animal suffering in your mind?
Well, I think that if we're talking about the natural suffering and not, so we got to separate the two. Are we talking about someone causing the harm, or are we talking about, like you said, babies born with cancer or animals born with issues, and then
We can,
or the circle of life, right? Lions eat other animals as a part of the circle of life. Right?
Yeah, lions eat other animals. That is part of the circle of life. Let's just take that example. That's a great example. Lions hunt, eat other animals.
Mhm.
Absolutely true. That is the circle of life. What the problem though is, do animals have to suffer while lions are eating and hunting? Because we've seen videos of lions, eating the guts out of an animal while it's still alive. One has chomped on its neck and the whole pride comes in and just starts going to town on it. We see that all the time. Does that have to happen? Why does that have to happen?
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a bit there that we'd have to unpack. But the thing is, this is there's a lot of points here. Like biology in general, we'd have to agree on this. Biology requires predation. I mean, predatory. In biology, there's predatory, right?
Yeah, and that's why I said in a non-God world, totally expected.
Okay.
It happens exactly as expected. There's an explanation. In a omni-God world, an all benevolent, like you said, all powerful, all knowing God, again, the animals being eaten alive makes no sense. You would agree they're suffering, right?
I would agree, but I mean,
is it necessary?
I guess here's the question. Here's my question. So if we're excluding God, right, we cannot argue that if he does exist, these things shouldn't happen.
Well, why not? I mean, he's an all-powerful God, right?
Right, but if he's an all-powerful God, then we're assuming, right? We're making the assumption that he should intervene and stop that ecosystem, that biology,
or just not have it in the first place.
And right, but we're assuming something about a being who's supposed to be omniscient, and so now we're trying to diagnose a superior being thought process and acting. So
right, but you would agree, like, you have a background in law, and there has to be a foundation for these things. There has to be like legal principles, right? There has to be moral principles behind things.
Yes.
We just can't chalk it up to, well, we don't know the real reason, because then you can't say this God is good. You would agree with that, right? Because, like, if you had a law that was in place and there was no legal principle behind the law, you can't say the law is just or good. Isn't that right? You'd agree with that, right?
I think biblically, if we go biblically, and again, the mark here is atheism, but let's go biblical. In the Bible, creation is fallen, and nature is not as God ultimately intended it for it to be, right? And the Bible also teaches that God grieves over suffering in creation.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is this almighty, all powerful God created this world with a free will. And so, yes, there are things that are going to occur that are out of our control.
Right.
And we cannot make the assumption that, hey, God, you should intervene to stop this from happening. Now, I would love that to happen. Let me agree with you on that. If there is a God that can stop that, why would he allow it in the first place? That was my argument initially.
Well, again, that's the thing, is I'm not necessarily talking about intervening. What I'm talking about is, why is it necessary in the first place?
And it's a valid point, and that's something that I just go by what I've learned in Scripture. God watches suffering from a distance. God enters suffering. There are plenty of examples in the Bible where he entered suffering and also stopped suffering from occurring.
Okay.
And Jesus himself, right, being the Son of God, according to the Bible, he himself experienced betrayal, torture, innocent suffering, and death.
Yeah, and that's another example of an innocent person taking the punishment for people who are guilty. And, you previously said there's no legal or moral basis for that. So how can we call this God good?
Well, there was a legal and moral basis for the people in the Old Testament, right? In the Tanakh, which if you read that, you would agree that they had to atone for their sins, right? And sins were things that would separate them from God, things that they would do.
Yeah,
So
but
that was atonement.
but whose rule was that? Like whose
That was their
requirement?
rule. That was their rule, because even
Well,
God inquisitively tells them later on, who told you to offer these sacrifices to me?
okay,
Who told you
okay,
to
that
present
makes it.
holocaust?
You do make a valid point. Yet
Okay.
now you would also agree that God could have said to them, "Don't do that. I don't want
Well,
that. I don't need
I-
that."
it doesn't implicitly say don't do that, but he does question it and
He
alludes
questions
to
it.
that.
Yeah, he
He
alludes to
alludes
it. Yet, but we still see animal sacrifice and things of that sort, and the whole sacrifice motif is, you know, that is central to the New Testament, right? That's central to Christianity. Jesus was sacrificed for humans, right? So, you know, and who was Jesus sacrificed to?
He was. It was more of who he was sacrificed for, and
Right.
that's the thing.
But
because
who
it
needed the
matters.
sacrifice?
We did. We needed the sacrifice.
Right, but there's another party to this, right? We don't just sacrifice for no reason. It's there, you know, what that's a means to an end. And what was the end? Like, who was it? Because you were saying it's on our behalf, but who was the sacrifice to?
So the sacrifice was to
God.
the Father, right?
Yeah, it was to God.
But it was like, look, stop killing animals. Stop offering your sons and daughters. Stop doing all these things, because it wasn't just Christianity. Obviously, there was no Christianity in the Old Testament, but there was so many religions, and there still are today,
Yeah.
right? And they assume that there's the Mayans, the Aztecs. I mean, these guys would chop their heads off and roll down these pyramids and think that was a sacrifice for their gods. And it was the bloodshed that they assumed to be an atonement of some type. So the major atonement here in the Bible and historically was, look, stop sacrificing these animals. And the lamb that was slain was Jesus Christ on that cross, that he would die for everyone's sins and take
Okay.
everyone's, you know. So that was the atonement to the Father.
Sure.
But again,
It's an atonement. Yeah. Well,
Right.
well, let's kind of look at this from just kind of another perspective here. You know, if we kind of go back to the legal and moral perspective.
Okay.
Like, because you had said earlier, there's no there's no justification legally to, you know, punish an innocent person, right, for somebody else's
Correct.
crime. So essentially what this is similar to is, if now you would agree that if Jesus had not come down and been crucified according to the Christian belief,
Mhm.
we'd be screwed, right?
I don't know.
You don't know. Well,
No,
it
I
wouldn't
don't
look
know.
good
I
for
don't
us,
know.
right? Well then,
We can assume that, but yeah, I mean, for conversation's sake, I
Okay.
really don't know what would have happened, but
well,
can
what
assume that, yeah.
what was it for then? I mean, that's the other, because then that kind of invites the question: what was he crucified for? Because you said
Well,
it was for us, right?
It was for us, but your question was what would have happened if he hadn't been. I don't know what would have happened.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
obviously it wouldn't have been good. Maybe society would have continued on the same path with the same.
Oh, I
behaviors.
see. You're saying like society may have continued
That
to
society,
go
that
down or
society.
something like that. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
more specifically that society, right? Because we weren't living in that time.
Okay, I understand. Now, do you believe this is for our salvation? Like, do we have to believe in the resurrection and ascension of Jesus?
Well, salvation is something that's given to us by grace through faith.
Okay.
It isn't given to us according to the Apostle Paul, right? He says salvation is given to you by grace through faith.
Yeah, faith in
that
what?
no one may boast, right?
Yeah, faith in what though?
Faith in God, faith in Christ, faith in the gospel. Yes,
Okay.
correct.
Okay, so faith in Christ, that Christ died for our sins, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So that was so the salvation is what that was for. So it was to save us, right?
Mhm.
Okay, perfect. So it's kind of like this. So it's similar to a whole bunch of people on death row, right? And a judge says, okay, so what I've decided to do is, instead of all these people on death row, you know, meeting their fate, I'm going to sentence this person who is totally innocent, and this person has volunteered to do it. They will be unalived instead, and we will set all these people on death row free.
Yes.
That's what it's similar to. And
Yes, that's exactly right.
yeah, and so is that justice?
Well, great question. According to our justice system, no, it's completely illogical.
Okay. And so why is it logical for God?
It's logical for God because he is God. And if we knew his thought process and he's sovereign, then there would be no need for God. I wouldn't
Okay.
want to believe in a God that wasn't sovereign and didn't make decisions that were beyond my comprehension. But
Okay,
I
got
understand where you're coming from with your
Yeah.
question. Your question makes 100% sense.
And what of the victims of these people who are on death row? Where's
Now,
their
these people are-
where's their
these people are
justice?
free.
Yeah, these people are
now
free, but what about the victims who deserve the justice that now they're not getting?
See, that's the thing. Justice, right, according to scripture, is an opportunity for you to be renewed and transformed. You're supposed to not be that same person again. So yes, these individuals were wrong. Now, going back to our justice system, it doesn't parallel with God's justice system. Because trust me, I've seen situations where I'm like, where's the justice for this family? I get what you're saying. They're just gonna let this guy free. This isn't just you're not posing a metaphorical question. These things actually do happen.
Yeah, they actually happen. And I agree, because our justice system isn't perfect, right? So yeah, things like that will happen. What I'm trying to understand is, if it's not good, and if we deem that as unjust for our justice system, what I'm getting at is you don't have an explanation for it being just under God's justice system. You're just saying, well, he's just an all-knowing guy. He knows better than we do. But see, that's the problem, Edgar. If we're just chalking it up to an argument from ignorance, right? You can't say for sure that this God is good. That's my point. You see what I'm saying? There's a huge gap there.
Well, let me ask you this. What is the definition of good, in your opinion?
That which is desirable or just or morally right. That's the dictionary definition, right? I may be a little off, but it's pretty close. Because I get asked this a lot.
So has anyone ever wronged you that you've forgiven before?
Oh, of course. Of course. Because you have to do that in like the 12-step program, right? You have to offer amends, and in the amends process, you find a way to forgive people, because you realize, hey, they're probably sick too, as I was. So yeah, I've had to forgive a lot of people who hurt me.
Okay.
But that was for me, right?
Okay.
But what I'm saying though is that there are a lot of people out there who, that they deserve justice, right? There are people who are unalive that deserve justice. And if these people don't serve their sentences, that's not justice, right? We have to bring them to justice. We have to try them. We have to prosecute them and make sure that they're held accountable. And that's what I mean, is that there isn't a level of accountability here with this sovereignty that you're talking about.
In this process of seeking redemption and restoration, there has to be one admittance of your sinful nature, okay?
Right.
Where you confess.
Okay.
Where you confess and you say,
Yep.
listen,
I totally
know
agree
I'm
with that.
imperfect,
As
right?
far as the Christian doctrines are concerned, I'm 100% with you. Remember, I was a Christian for over 30 years. I mean, I was going to go into I was going to be a Catholic priest. I was going to go in the seminary. So I hear you. I'm very familiar with that. I'm just letting you know I'm very familiar.
Okay. So
yeah.
in that panorama, because we're running out of time, and I think we should have a part 2, you and I, if possible, in the future.
Well, it's going to go to a vote at 30 minutes. So, but if you can't stick around, that's fine too.
No, I'll stick around till the end.
Okay.
But the thing is, in Christianity, justice is delayed; it's not denied, and no evil escapes final judgment. That's what's written.
Yeah, but I would say justice delayed is justice denied.
No, justice delayed is not justice denied.
I would disagree.
There are people being okay. That's fine. You can disagree, but
I would disagree. I think it's absolutely immoral to delay justice. It's because it just goes it infringes upon people's freedom and well-being. You'd agree with that, right?
No, because the due process system is justice delayed.
Well, but you're going through the justice system. But what I'm saying though is that because here's the thing. When I asked you earlier, what would have happened if Jesus not been crucified? You said, well, I don't really know.
I don't know.
So, okay. So what happens then to a person who commits sins and dies?
Well, if we go to the previous justice system prior to Christ, I mean, there was death. That's
Okay.
the law.
What
That
happens
was the
after
law.
now? What happens after Christ?
Now, after Christ, you have the ability to be redeemed, forgiven, and restored.
Right. Right.
But
So
that doesn't mean that there won't be a terrestrial justice, because in the book of Romans, chapter 13, it clearly details that all authority on this earth was provided by God.
well,
So you're judged on both sides. You're
okay,
judged
you're judged on both
ecclesiastically.
sides. Yeah, sure.
Absolutely.
What I'm saying though is you'd agree that there are people who do commit crimes, who do commit sins, and they don't get the terrestrial justice that you're talking about. So that in effect is justice delayed. And to me, that's justice denied, because we're not, and again, if you look at it from an objective point of view, like from a logical point of view, it's not logical.
Well, and the other thing is, God has mercy, which is a little different, which is why you'd have to answer the question, do you want to be judged by your peers or do you want to be judged by God?
Well, see, this is the last point, because and we'll go a little bit over so we can finish this last little point here.
Sure.
You would also agree that sin is breaking the covenant with God, right? So if sin is breaking the covenant, because it means a different thing. I mean, you're familiar with Hebrew, so it means missing the mark, right? But it also means there's a covenant with God and you break that covenant. That's what missing the mark means, right? Well, the thing is I don't have a covenant with God. I don't sin. So that doesn't apply to me. I don't recognize any of that. So that being that as it may, if I didn't agree to a covenant with God, you would also agree as a legal person with legal experience that there has to be a meeting of the minds in terms of a covenant, or in other words, a contract, right?
Of course.
So if I'm not on board with that, there is no covenant, there is no contract. You'd agree with that, right?
I see what you're saying. I see exactly what you're saying. So let me
Last thought.
conclude.
Yeah, no, I'll
This is my
start the
last
kick
thought.
poll. Go ahead and talk, and I'll start the kick poll. Okay, everybody, I'm starting the kick
so-
poll, so we'll listen to Edgar while I start it up. Okay, go ahead, Edgar. You got the floor.
In conclusion, Jesus dies unjustly precisely for victims, not instead of them. And forgiveness in Christianity doesn't erase injustice; it pays for it. So the cross says evil is so serious that God Himself bears the weight, so that victims aren't told to forget and perpetrators aren't excused. So
Mhm.
that's important. And Christianity never tells victims forgive or else. Jesus forgave on the cross after injustice, not before it, and not instead of it. So that's just it. So forgiveness is an invitation. It's not a weapon.
Yeah.
It's not used. And then that's it. And those are my 2 cents for now.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, we still got 45 seconds left. So, I mean, but then that's the other piece of it too, right? Is, because we do have we have like this justice system here in place, right? Let's just say the U.S. justice system. And if a person is tried and convicted, like I know in many situations, if the victim is alive, let's say, or the victim's families, you would agree that like the prosecution kind of works with the families saying, hey, what do you guys want to see? I'll do the best I can. This is the thing I have to work with within the law. But for the most part, prosecutors, they're going to work out deals. A lot of them end up in deals, but it is with the families in mind. You would agree with that, right? It's just not, just an arbitrary thing of seeking justice.
Oh yeah, they take a lot of things in consideration.
There you
They
go.
take the offender's history. They take his mental and educational history into consideration before they disseminate the different types of sentencing.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
I mean, I understand that part.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. Well, hey, it was a pretty close vote. This was actually a really good talk, but yeah, I agree. Let's do a part 2. You just by the hair, you didn't quite pass, but I mean, it's nothing personal, just not for lack of trying. This was a really good conversation. I appreciate
Thanks
it.
for having me on.
Edgar,
Trust,
come
I
back
appreciate it,
anytime.
man.
Yeah, anytime. All right.
Take care, man.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
All right. So yeah, that was a good conversation. But yeah, but that's the thing is I am, it just I will say it again, justice delayed is justice denied, without a doubt. And I see what he was saying, justice delayed is going through the justice system. What I mean is when I say justice delayed, I mean that there is like no movement, nothing at all. And we would also agree, and this is the part I didn't get to, that, the Jeffrey Schmammers of the world would, all they have to do is repent, and their victims don't get any justice. So, we have a new member, Resist Oppression. Welcome. And so we have a new member on the YouTube side, Resist Oppression. So got the supporter package. Very nice. Thank you. I appreciate that. You join Rainbow Ash. You join Pseudo V Science. You join Ethereal Ember. You join Reckless Religion. So you got a nice little group there that you're a part of. So very nice. Very, very nice. Okay. Speaking of which, speaking of Ethereal Ember is here. So hopefully you're not too busy. I know you have a busy day, but if I catch you, let's just see. And yes, we do have a YouTube guest, so we're just going to wait for them, but we just have a little bit of housekeeping to do. So hang tight. You are definitely next. So we're almost there. Okay, looks like Ethereal Ember might be busy. So that's okay, because busy day for them, and that's all right. So usually Ethereal Ember has a what's it called? An announcement. And so, but we can wait on that. That's perfectly fine. Okay, 20 more minutes and Christ Before Jesus shows up. So this might be a good time to change all my prompts and everything. So we'll do one more God is Good. Oh, there you are. Hello. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. I know you have a busy day, so I appreciate you. Yeah, I appreciate catching you, having a little bit of time.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
really appreciate that.
I do not have my computer
It's all right.
available.
Do it from memory,
no
best you
script
can.
Today.
Nope,
yes,
no script is okay.
I think I can
This
get
is
it
off
though.
script.
I think I can
Okay.
do a lot. But
You go.
hi everybody, and welcome to Trust But Verifies Live. We have 60 people in here, and we are happy to see you. In this live, you'll experience mostly calm conversations where the spice level is about that of a green bell pepper, but every so often we do get up to a poblano, maybe a habanero. But keep your arms inside the vehicle and your legs. Keep arms and legs inside the vehicle at all times, and we will arrive safely back at Green Bell Pepper Station. But seriously, you guys, we are really happy to have you here, and we are excited about CBJ being able to be here in about 20 minutes or so, and so that will be a good co-hosting time. So make sure you stick around for that. Let's see. I would love to see us. We are at almost 30K likes right now. Let's get up to 50K. We can do that soon with 63 people in here, and then we're at 45 shares. We can do that. We have gone way past 100 before, so if we could just get to 100, that would be amazing. So just share it out to everybody that you know, and let them also know that we're going to have a co-host here as well soon.
Yeah.
And then let's see here. We have a couple different things, different options for when there is a guest up. If you want a kick poll to start early, you can fill the kick poll goal, or the goal, the boxing gloves, and then that will trigger a kick poll. If you want the guest gone immediately, you can do a jellyfish. Also, if you want to support, and we do not expect anything and everything that is given is appreciated, but if you are able to and you want to support Trust more consistently, because he does want to go full-time doing this by the summer, then you can look at all of the subscriptions on the different apps that he's on, or the different streams that he's on, and platforms. So the YT app and the Twi app. So just make sure to go check those out. Follow him, Trust But Verify 2024 on there, and there's just different options depending on what you can afford and what you want to help him with. So yeah, and then we do have a Discord. So make sure to also follow that, or come and join us. It's not just an atheist Discord, it's open to everyone, and we are shifting towards more of an education focus, which we are really excited about. So So just go to the link in his bio, and you'll have to copy it and paste it into your web browser. But it should work from there. If for any reason it doesn't, just let one of us mods know, and we'll be happy to help. Did I miss anything?
I think you nailed it.
Dang,
Did a-
that's amazing.
Yeah, you
All
did a
right,
fantastic
so
job.
last thing, actually, one more last mod announcement
Oh, maybe not.
is no preaching, praying for non-believers, or being rude in chat. And then no caps lock either, because it's how we as mods talk to each other, talk to Trust, and talk to the chat. So just make sure to just keep the chat clear for us if you can. That would be awesome. All right. Thank you so much. Welcome to Trust But Verifies Live, and we are happy to see you.
Thank you so much, Ember.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes. I know you're right in the middle of a move, so that's very exciting.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and I will
Fantastic.
be here as long as I can today.
Okay, well, it was great to have you. Great to have you. Well, be safe. You know, don't
Thanks,
work too
Trust.
hard. Don't throw out your back
Okay.
and nothing like that. Okay,
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Trust.
right on. See
I'll
ya.
hop down. Okay.
Right on. So they are amazing. Ethereal Ember is amazing. All right. So you see, we have our next guest waiting. So we're going to get to, let's see, you said your name is Sunil. Okay. Sunil, let's bring up Sunil. All right. Sunil, I think you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. We can hear you. All right, buddy. Thanks for waiting. Appreciate you. How you doing?
No worries. I'm good. And you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. All right. And thanks for waiting. So we have to follow TikTok terms of service. So you have to be at least 18 to be on the live, because you're being live streamed also on TikTok. So are you at least 18?
Yeah, I'm 30.
Oh, fantastic. And then you said you believe in the God of the Bible. So that's good. You told
Yeah.
me that in chat. Okay. What's your best evidence? We're going to do with the God is good. So I'm just changing this from my next guest. I'm changing it a little early. But, you know, I suppose
Okay.
we could do Bible is true if you want to. So I'll let you take your pick. What would you like to do? Your evidence that the Bible is true, or the evidence that God is good?
The Bible is true.
Okay. So what's your evidence that the Bible is true?
Okay. Like all the Western country, like Christianity originated in the Middle East, but it got prominence in the West.
Mm-hmm.
And the West has prospered since. And it's been the major religion in the area. So I think there's plenty of evidence that any civilization that adopted Christianity has prospered. And in fact, it's prospered to a level where it allows people to be atheists, because you cannot be you can't be an atheist in poorer countries generally. You're like forced to believe. You're forced to have one train of thought.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I'm hearing you right, you're saying that because of the prosperity of the West, that demonstrates that the Bible is true.
It's one of the things. And another fact is the West takes more immigrants of other faith than any other civilization.
Okay.
Like if you take the top 10 countries that takes immigrants from other faiths,
Mm-hmm.
it's 9 of them are Christian. I think number 9 is the UAE.
Okay.
But most of them are Christian.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
let's deal with one at a time here. So, because that
Mhm.
seems to be a little bit of a separate issue, that, you know, the Western countries take more people of more faiths than other countries. So that's kind of a separate thing, but let's deal one at a time. Let's deal with this
Okay.
prosperity thing. So, now how do you think that the Bible being true contributed to the West being prosperous? Like in what way?
Well, in what way exactly? It's,
Yeah.
you need a way.
Like
to
we
live
should
your
be able
life.
to do direct correlations between like things that are, things in the Bible to pointing, having strong correlations to prosperity. So what were some of these things?
What exactly? It's not just one thing, right? It's amalgamation of various different things.
Actually,
I think-
I have one that might work. But
Okay.
here, but go ahead and give me something. I have an idea, but I'll let you go ahead.
Okay, how does it? Let me think about that for a minute.
Yeah, take your
Like,
time.
we-
I
like,
thought of one like almost right away.
okay. Uh,
But
how about,
I don't think it justifies the Bible being true.
okay, well, how about monogamy? Monogamy is not,
Monogamy?
monogamy is not like you people, like people in the West generally take it for granted that
Uh-huh.
monogamy is normal, but there are plenty of other countries that think it is weird that you just stick to one wife.
Okay.
And a lot of people take that for granted, but it's
Yeah.
very important in how a civilization is structured to have only one spouse.
How does monogamy like contribute to prosperity?
When you're monogamous, you have like it contributes to the well-being of the child. When a child just has one father
Mm-hmm.
and one mother caring for it, then the child grows up healthier.
Mm-hmm.
There's more focus on the child. It shows how to treat the other sex, stuff like that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I think there was one that I thought of, and that was slavery. I
Okay.
think slavery
hmm
significantly contributed to the success of the West. And that's taken directly from the Bible. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, that's the slavery didn't come from the Bible, but it has always existed, and it still exists now.
Yeah, it still exists now. Now, I didn't say it originated from the Bible. What I mean is that, like for example, the transatlantic slave trade started with Portugal, and it was a Christian. I want to say, was it the Pope at the time, who kind of basically invented the races, and it justified going into Africa and enslaving people because they used lots of different justifications. Like the biggest one would be that they were descendants of Ham, and that they were thought to be cursed. So it was justified to go and enslave them. And you would agree that free labor is a great way to keep your profits high, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And I'm not justifying slavery. I understand it's reprehensible, but
Mhm.
even like anything that we consume, there is someone in the supply chain that is a slave. Like even the technology we are using to talk to each other,
Oh, I
some of the
100% agree.
vendors,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
So
there's people in developing countries that are, doing labor for 15 cents an hour, which are slave wages. They're doing it for 15, 20 cents a day and having to make hundreds or thousands of shoes per day. There's children who develop arthritis in their fingers because they're trying to sew together little shoes all day, right? Yeah, totally agree with you. That's slavery. That's wrong. So what I'm trying to understand though is this kind of thing, because I'm not quite seeing the link here between because you did say monogamy, but you said, well, it leads to healthier families, healthier children, things of that sort, like more well-adjusted children. Okay. Maybe not. I don't know. What I'm trying to understand is I'm still not seeing the link to a prosperous West.
okay, we spoke about monogamy and slavery.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the fundamental unit of society is the family. So if a family is strong, the society is strong, then businesses can thrive. Then we talked about slavery. And I think we both agree that we ourselves benefit from some, like a little bit of slavery somewhere up the supply chain.
Yeah. Now,
So
but
how do we do
there are
that?
some supply chains that
Mhm.
don't have any slavery in them. I mean, because that's one of the
Mhm.
things that we look at here in this country is and we get some companies to certify that. Now, I'll agree with you. It's not a lot of companies that do that, right? That
Yeah.
there's not a lot. There you're right. There is a lot of it, but that still makes it wrong. And and on top of that, me as the end consumer, I honestly don't have any control over that except to work as best as I can with companies that certify that, hey, we don't have any, we don't do any trafficking labor or anything. We certify that that's not the case. And, so that's about as best as I can do. I can't travel to these countries and verify whether or not they have slave labor, right? So that's pretty much the best I can do. But yeah, you're right. It is, the system that we do have in place. It's an awful system. It's an awful, terrible system. Now, I think another piece to this though is that, how far are you going back in terms of when you say the West? Like how many years are you going back to look at this prosperity?
200 years.
100 years? Okay.
200.
200 years? Okay, so the last 200 years. Okay. Because the reason I say that is if we're doing a comparative analysis, we can see other civilizations who weren't Christian and had far longer periods of success in terms of like world domination, like the Roman Empire, right? Around for at least 1,000 years, definitely for a big chunk of that time, we're not Christian, right? We have the Greek Empire, the Greek civilization. They were around for a long time and, they were finally overtaken. The Egyptians around for a long, long time, thousands, 4,000 years, 4,000 years, definitely not Christian. So we've had these civilizations that were around much longer than what we have in the West. And they, were the dominant, civilizations of their time. So how do we know this isn't just another iteration of the same thing?
Because you don't understand the domination of the West right now compared to the other countries. I'm like an Indian.
I agree with that. I mean, it's on par or it exceeds that, but it is still dominance.
It's nowhere close. Like I've been to the US. I'm an Indian living in Saudi Arabia, and you don't understand the absolute marvel of the West.
Oh, I think I do. I have, Well, see, the thing is I don't tell people about my degree. I have a master's degree, and it's very, very related to what you and I are talking about. So I have a very good understanding of what we're talking about. Yeah. You can say now, I haven't been to all of these different countries. However, I have studied, many, many countries' GDPs, different parts of their economies. I've had to do that for different theses I've had to write and things of that sort. So I have a pretty good understanding of what we're talking about. Yeah. So I get it.
Can I ask you one thing?
Yeah.
So what percentage of the world economy is captured in the US?
Oh, it's a pretty big percentage. And also the Forex is based.
I found that number.
Yeah. I don't know the exact number. Do you have the number off the top of your head?
It's something like 30%.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Insane.
It's ridiculous.
What percentage of the world population you guys contribute to?
Yeah, and it's less than 1%.
Yeah, it's less than 1%.
Yeah.
How is that fair?
Oh, you're right. It's not fair. It's totally not fair.
I don't think. That is because you guys have done things right. You guys lived in a very. You guys adopted ideas and lived your lives the correct way, and that is why you're prosperous. I believe you guys have everything you guys deserve everything coming to you, and more power to you.
Well,
you guys should not be
you
ashamed
could take that
of
a couple of different ways.
No, you should not be ashamed of that. I'm telling you, you guys are blessed, and you guys should, cherish that blessing.
Well,
and
I think
things can go sideways, anytime.
Sure, but
you guys need to preserve that.
Yeah, it seems to me though that I just don't see, just based on what I've seen, based on what I've studied, based on the things that I've researched, it seems to me I don't think that the Bible has anything to do with any of this. I don't think Christianity has anything to do with this. I think let me back up. Let me walk that back a little bit. It has something to do with it because there were things like manifest destiny, in the 1800s, which were biblically based because people were saying that they were ordained by God in order to get more, to take land from Native Americans, from the indigenous people, or to enslave people. They were ordained by God to do this because they thought that they were the superior race, So there's things like that. So yeah, in that sense it was. But what I'm saying though is that I don't think it's because that Christianity was the right religion. You know, we don't have any evidence to support that because, like I said, you know, the Roman Empire had a lot of the same thought process, that they thought that they were ordained by the gods in order to take over the Roman, you know, to build the Roman Empire to the size that it was. You know, so I'm still not seeing it.
Can I
Yeah.
try to convince you otherwise?
Yeah.
How
See what else you
about
got.
this? Okay, so human beings have existed something like 200,000 years. All right.
Yeah.
Christianity has been around for 2,000 years.
Mhm.
All right. So, 1,998 or 198,000 years, anywhere in that time period, if science had emerged first, you say that religion wouldn't have existed, because then
No, I didn't say
science
that.
would
I wouldn't
refute.
say that.
Okay, but it is very coincidental that just 2,000 years after Christianity emerged, the modern science as we know it is only 200 years old. The science, the proximity to those two points in time is very close.
Oh yeah.
So my assertion is that religion made life prosperous enough for science to emerge, and science supercharged the prosperity.
Well, I think yes, that is true. That, you know, we discovered science in, you know, right around Sir Isaac Newton's time. That's about right when we discovered science, which was like what, 1600, 1700, somewhere in there, somewhere between 1600 and 1700, somewhere in there, like mid 1600s. So yeah, so science is a very new thing as far as humans are concerned. Totally agree with you. How did you determine that it was because of the Bible and not coincidence?
Because of the proximity. If you believe in the data that the scientists are giving us, that is, we've been around for 200,000 years, and it's only 2,000 years since since Christianity has been around. In that timeline, science and religion fall very close to each other.
Yeah.
And I don't think that is a coincidence.
Okay. So there's been talk of China overtaking us here in anywhere from the next 30 to 50 years, the US. They're going to be the dominant economy here. I mean, they're pretty close to us right now, and they have 3 to 3.5 or maybe 4 times the population we do. So I can totally see it. So would that mean then that Christianity is no longer true?
I don't believe that they are going to overtake you guys anytime soon.
Well, not anytime soon. I said in the next 30 to 50 years.
But if they do, then I would definitely, see what they are doing right. Like right now, I use you guys as a reference to see like what have you guys done right for your country to prosper.
Sure.
And I think the religion was a big part of that.
Well, yeah, I do agree too. I don't think it's because it's true. I think it's because there were things in the religion that contributed to people thinking that they were entitled to things that they actually weren't, and that they could do that at the expense of other people's freedom and well-being. So I would say that's why we've prospered in the way we have, is because in a lot of ways, we've taken advantage of people. And, and so I would say and they used their belief in God to justify that they were the chosen people to do this. So I would say from that perspective, yes.
Yeah, but that's a very antiquated idea. Like, let's say I'm an Indian person who's only seen Indian people all my life. Okay. Then I meet you, a black person, and, let's say, I don't know anything about the world, and I would be very suspicious, right? If you put yourselves in that shoes, it's very logical at that point for them to believe that, they were superior. But after they got to know each other, after they found the humanity, after talking to each other, is when they realize, oh, just the same. It's just that we, do a different race. But then you guys caught up. I don't see too much disparity in, racial disparity. That when I talk about racial disparity, I mean in the law. It should not be written in the law. There is no law right now that discriminates by color, and it should be that way. And and I do believe in that strongly.
We have case law that actually was just recently passed that discriminates
Okay.
by color. So ICE agents are allowed to investigate people strictly based on color. Supreme Court allows them to do that. That's a law based on color. So you should be lucky. Honestly, you should be lucky you're not here. Honestly, I'm not going to lie. If you were here, you would be likely stopped.
Okay.
And
I recently applied for the US and I got turned down. And I still believe it is your right to turn me down.
of course,
If you don't want me to be there,
I
I'm
didn't-
not
yeah.
going to be there.
I'm not saying that. What
Okay.
I'm saying though is I'm just responding to your point about there is case law on the books right now allowing federal officers to basically racially profile people. They can check their immigration status purely based on how they look. Okay. Well, we do have a jellyfish, and so when people buy a jellyfish, that means that you have to go. So I do
No
appreciate you
problem.
coming up. Yeah, thanks for the
Okay,
talk.
yeah, it was very nice talking to
Yep.
you.
Yeah, it was good talking
Thank
to you.
you so
Have a good
much.
day.
Bye. You too. Bye.
And it's perfect timing because look what we have here. We have Christ before Jesus. He made it. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, how's it going?
Doing well. Yeah, thanks for dropping by, man. Glad we could finally do
Absolutely.
this. Yeah,
Absolutely.
excited to see you.
I was a little bummed at first that might not be able to swing by and everything with all the craziness that happened and everything like that, but happy that we were able to at least come
Work
up with
it out.
some kind of solution where we're able
Exactly.
to swing by, trust but verify. And
I'm happy we worked it out, man. And thanks for coming into my house. I really appreciate it. You're definitely a welcome guest anytime. So great for you to be here. Yeah. So we started off with a little bit of God is good, but I switched it up to the Bible is true. And
Okay.
yeah, so I figured that's the way we can go. And we have looks like we have 2 guests waiting. So we got some people waiting to talk to us. So this is good too.
All right.
Yeah. So
That sounds like fun.
okay, all right. So we do have we have one from the other day. Hopefully their internet is better today. But we do have one in the TikTok queue we'll go over. We're going to bring up Noah. And all right, Noah, you've been waiting, so appreciate you. All right, Noah, how you doing?
Hello?
Yeah, hey Noah, how you doing?
Hi. How are you doing?
Hey, doing well. Good to see you again. This is my friend Jaron, or Christ Before Jesus.
Hey,
Yeah.
Darren, whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I've seen your lives. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, nice. Thank you very much, Noah.
Right on. All right. Well, so yeah, do just a really brief reset. You've been on my live, I don't know how many times, at least half a dozen times. So you and I are pretty familiar with each other, but just in case people here don't know you, just give us a quick reset, your beliefs and what you're here for today.
Well, it's kind of hard to give myself an actual label.
Yeah.
I would say that I'm Christian leaning.
Okay.
So I'm theistic, Christian leaning with a history of spiritualism and stuff like that.
Okay.
So it's a bit of a I'm in a bit of a suspension right now as far as a label. But
I got
don't think it's just I just prefer to call myself a believer.
Okay.
That's just the
Sounds
simple
good.
form of it.
Yeah. Like a Christian believer. Okay. All right. Sounds good. Okay. Well, today we have the topic, what's your best evidence that the Bible is true? We're going to stick to that one since Jaron is here. So what's your evidence that the best evidence that the Bible is true?
Okay, I actually came on here to talk about the evidence for God is good, but we can go with this direction.
Okay.
That's
I mean,
fine
we
with
could
me.
probably do that, and we could probably drift into that. But yeah, let's start with the Bible is true, and let's see how it goes.
Because I do have a point here that maybe you would find interesting.
Okay.
So recently I just been contemplating why people see the Bible as true.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of it has to do with the Bible being a genuine encounter with the transcendent.
Hmm.
And
All
I
right.
think that people encounter the transcendent in their own lives and they see a symmetry with the testament of the Bible. So
Okay.
that's basically my point.
Okay. Now, you and I have talked about like different parts of the Bible, and we're probably going to go into like different areas that I don't usually talk about because Jaron's a lot more knowledgeable about the Bible than I am, and he's shaking his head. Well, you seem to be, but I mean, the part about it though is, I mean, well, shit, we can just go into a different area then. That we can explore a different area about it. Clearly, I don't share your sentiment, Noah. I don't agree with that. But what makes you think that's true?
Well, I think that when people actually like encounter the transcendent, when they actually have that sort of experience, and I think many people have this experience like throughout all time, really. And I think that when they have that and then they come in contact with scripture, I think there's a lot of what happens is that they see a kind of mapping on to what they experienced or
Okay.
what they divined.
So it's a lineup with it lines up to their experience. That's what I'm hearing.
Something like that.
Okay. And so we've talked about this part before in terms of, Hindus who have their experience and it lines up with the Bhagavad Gita. Muslims, they have their experience, lines up with the Quran, all that. So what do we make of those? Because then by your metric, that means all of those are true.
Yeah, and I don't think that this is where we get into nuance because I don't think that those particular religions are 100% wrong, and that Christianity is 100% true. Well, I guess it's more like they also participate in the encounter with the transcendent.
Okay.
And that's why people see a mapping on to their experience and then go with it. But I think that my point is that Christianity is also a legitimate recording of this.
Well, so then what do we make then of the contradictions and like the anachronisms and just the flat out, things that are just wrong in the Bible, scientific inaccuracies?
Well, we can go into,
yeah, we got a ton of those. Yeah.
If we want to.
Yeah, we got a ton of those. I mean, because that's the thing is, if we start looking at those, right? Wouldn't you say that would just call into question whether or not this is actually true?
Well, based on what I've said, the truth value of the Bible doesn't actually reside in whether it's scientifically accurate or not.
Well,
because I don't think that's the claim that it's making.
Yeah, and jump in anytime, Jaron. But what I'm saying though is it's not just the scientific inaccuracies, it's the anachronisms, things that can't possibly be true because it's just temporally out of order. You know what I mean? Like, for example, in the Old Testament, the dude who was forging iron before that could even be possibly done, it was like 400 to 600 years too early. I think that's about right. Just something like that, and if we jump to the New Testament, there's anachronisms in the New Testament. There's, Jesus either being crucified at 9 a.m. or noon. Things like on the same day. I mean, there's just too many things wrong with it.
But that's the thing. I don't think that level of criticism actually subverts what I'm saying.
Why not?
What do you mean by truth then?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because you're saying that it could still be true even though it doesn't line up scientifically or, as Trust pointed out, historically. So, I mean, what do you mean by true?
I mean true insofar as it provides insight into the transcendent.
Helpful is not true. Those are not synonymous.
I disagree, honestly. I think that if something helps, it has to have something legitimate to it.
Well, I guess help in what sense then?
Help in one sense? You're asking me?
Yeah.
Help in the sense that it allows people to, let's see, because this is a fresh thought that I had, so I'm just trying to connect
Okay.
it back into, see how it holds up.
Okay.
But
Because I
it's
mean, we
like-
could say that about Spider-Man, right? I mean, Spider-Man has helped people, but that doesn't
Yeah.
make Spider-Man true.
In my hands, I'm holding the Book of Mormon, which talks about King Noah, someone who apparently lived in Mesoamerica in like roughly about, I want to say about 300 BCE, and that doesn't make any sense. Like,
Well, I think we're just disagreeing on what exactly is important about these texts, because what I'm saying is that the truth of the Bible and the truth of Scripture comes from how, because I understand where you're coming from. It's like, how can this be true if you run into these sort of anachronisms,
Yeah.
scientific inaccuracies, and so on and so
Here's
forth?
another
And it's like,
parallel. Here's another parallel. Virgil's Aeneid. Virgil was commissioned to write this because the emperor at the time, the Roman emperor at the time, wanted to establish that, the Roman Empire was God ordained. So he had Virgil write the Aeneid, and it was tying, the formation of like what happened in Greece with the Greek gods to the formation of the Roman Empire.
Mhm.
And no one believes that's true. But at the time, everybody thought it was true. Everybody, ate it up. So if we're using your thought process, that makes Virgil's Aeneid true. Because it's not so important that it's actually true, but it's that it's helpful. And so we should worship the Roman gods then.
Well, I think you're making several jumps there.
Well, it's an argument it's a reductio. That's what I mean, is I'm stretching it to its limit to see how logical it is, how coherent it is.
And by the way, how dare you say that trust but verify is making a leap when you're trying to say that if something is helpful, it is somehow true? Like, what are you talking about? That's not, those two, that does not equate at all. I mean, a broom is helpful. I get use out of a sponge. What the hell are you talking about?
I mean, like, when it comes to like something that is true, I think the marker of something being true is that it has to have an endurance to it.
No.
All right, well,
Aeneid,
Not even close.
yeah,
If
Aeneid had
something
a
is
lot of
true
endurance.
right now,
Yeah.
something can be true as of this second. Like this second, I just held up a text, but that doesn't require that there's like an endurance of time that everybody understands that I
Well,
held
here's the
held
thing.
something up.
Okay, here's the thing. If all scientific discoveries changed tomorrow, would that make the previous discoveries true?
No, of course not.
No.
Yeah, so it has to have a lasting power.
What? No.
Yeah,
I'm not following.
because like if I said, okay, I made a discovery, iron boils at this temperature,
Mhm.
and then tomorrow I'm like, okay, I made a discovery, iron boils at a different temperature, and we see a fluctuation. So that means my previous detection of temperature it did not maintain itself. It did not maintain its truth.
You're
I didn't
confusing
know.
it. You're confusing just the
Last
endurance of
question,
time,
anyway.
just in general. You're confusing it with like testing and like consistent testing over a period of time, and that's fine. But the Bible fails at that. That's what Trust and I are literally talking about.
Yeah, it's kind
We're
of what
talking about how over time we have found out that it doesn't actually. It's not consistently true.
Post starting,
there
everybody.
may be a nugget of truth in there with like say Pilate existing or pharaohs live in Egypt. That's fine, but the stuff that's surrounding it, all the meat of the story is false. And at that point you'd have to just assume that using your logic it's not true anymore. I mean,
It's just
That's
like
not, I mean, if you found out that like the boiling point of water was 212 degrees Fahrenheit, but then a year later you found out it was actually 230 degrees Fahrenheit, exactly what you just said. Like it wouldn't be consistent, so therefore it's not true. And the Bible is very consistently inconsistent.
I just don't. This is my problem with discussing things like this, because I'm dealing with a level that is not on the level of whether or not this is factually true, because I actually think that's not super relevant.
Then don't use the word true. Say it's beneficial.
Okay,
say it like it's helpful. Say it's like
I can't
say
say
it's comforting or some shit like that. Like you could say whatever you want. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I can tell you right now that even if you were to pivot to that side, or if you were to change it and describe it in that way, I would say helpful for who? Beneficial or comforting for who? Women? People who are part of minorities? Certain races? Non-Jewish people? Jewish people? It depends on what part of the Bible.
Yeah.
People who are part of the LGBTQIA plus community, like who? There's plenty of people who do not feel comfortable when the Bible is read to them or when the Bible is acted upon. Like,
well, helpful doesn't mean comforting.
Cool, and helpful does not mean true.
All right, we have a tie for the vote, so I'm going to restart it. Keep going, guys.
Oh, we're vote. I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So we got to revote everybody, but you two can keep talking.
I
I'm
think
going to
it's
restart.
just mainly a difference of like what exactly is truth, and I think until we can settle that, I think we're just going to talk past each other at this
Do you
point.
think that anything that somehow provides value is true?
I think if something provides value, it has to have some connection to truth.
Okay, so as Trust pointed out, is Spider-Man true?
True as in he's out there and
I don't know. True as in
around?
however you're fucking using the word true.
Because if I say Spider-Man is true, then
Yes.
suddenly you'll accuse me of thinking that he's out in Manhattan swinging around, you know?
Correct.
So it's like,
That's how we
Because-
use true.
Because
Yeah.
I'm using the word true to mean the word true.
because you're applying an all or nothing appliance to the word truth.
Okay. Then explain to me how you think Spider-Man is true. Like,
Well,
how do you
that's the
define
thing,
the
wasn't-
truth of Spider-Man?
Because if it wasn't true, nobody would care about him. Nobody would be fans of him. I think for
was true?
something to have that,
What on earth are you talking about?
I know it's weird.
Yeah, it is.
So if-
it's a little bit
okay,
weird. Yeah.
So people like Spider-Man, so therefore it's you call that truth?
Yeah. Well, go ahead. Go ahead and finish up, Noah, because it did like technically tie again, but it was a closer vote on the YouTube side and it was kind of a load on the TikTok side. So we're going to call it, but I'll give you go ahead and final thoughts.
It's just, well, it's just the fact that we're like two trains crashing into each other, and I don't know how we can get into like what it means for me to say something is true without you assuming something else of truth. And that's
Well,
really the
are you
problem that we're
calling
running into.
truth the benefit that someone gets from it? Like they enjoy it, so that's what you call truth?
Because that would be I mean, I think me and Jaron are on the same side here. It's like, that's kind of a different definition of truth.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know of anybody
agree it's a
outside of
different
Noah who's
definition of
using it
truth.
that way, but is that what you're saying? I'm trying to figure out what you're saying. I understand that it feels like two trains crashing into each other. One of them says truth is whatever the hell I want it to be, and the other one has words mean words. And
I'm just
that's the
saying
problem.
that things that have lasting power have to have an ontological connection to truth. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
And so when something doesn't have lasting power, it dissolves.
Yeah. And that's the thing. We don't think it has an ontological connection to truth because then by that argument, that means that the Egyptian religion was true because it was around much longer than Christianity. And you did say, well, they all have elements of truth to it, but it just seems so cloudy and foggy. We can't really pin you down on
I can
something.
understand that. And
Yeah.
this is why I also said this is a new thought, and
Yeah.
I'm just trying to make
No, that's fair.
connections to it.
That's fair.
I'm not saying that it's a complete theory or anything.
Yeah, and we're not totally we're not like judging you or anything like that. We're critiquing it. That's all we're doing.
No,
And
I'm
that's
judging
fine.
him.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
All right.
I'm straight up judging him because at a certain point you got to change the definition of words. But it's almost a philosophical kind of quandary on top of it.
Yeah.
Quick question, if I may.
Yeah. Last question. And
Gi-
yeah.
gi-
Go ahead.
No, what is? Give me an example of a work that you would consider to be fiction. Give me an example of that.
Brothers Karamazov.
The Amazons.
What?
Brothers Karamazov by Dostoevsky.
Oh, Brothers Karamazov by
Okay.
Dostoevsky. Okay.
All right. Now, give me an example of a work that you would call historical fiction.
Historical fiction?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. I guess anything by Colleen McCullough or something.
Okay. So, at what point do we call fiction historical fiction? And at what point does historical fiction become fiction?
At what point does historical fiction become fiction?
Yeah. So, in other words, if I told you a story about, can't remember the writer of it, but Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. There was a book, there was a movie. It was actually a decent movie. The point is, he wasn't a vampire hunter, but he was real. So that could be historical fiction.
Yeah.
But if I made a movie that had the exact same characters, but instead of Abraham Lincoln, I'm calling my main character, the vampire hunter, Steve Bob. Steve Bob. Now, Steve Bob is not a real person. So people would say, oh, that's fiction. But as soon as I slap the name Abraham Lincoln on that character, all of a sudden it's historical fiction. And that's it. The reason I bring that up is because it seems like maybe you're finding the connection between a fictional story. You're finding the tiniest shred of it. You're finding the tiniest shred of some fictional tale, whether it be Spider-Man or Harry Potter, and you're saying because it ties in at all with something that is real, which could be even just simply it involves humans, it's true.
I think I'm seeing where you're coming from in the sense of your portrayal of my opinion. I just want to say that's not actually what I'm saying is the truth value. I'm not saying that because Spider-Man takes place in Manhattan or wherever, that means that it's true. I'm not saying that because we have a connection to something that is true in the factual realm, that means that it is true. That's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
And
Well,
I
hey.
guess I've just been misrepresenting my point.
All right. Well, hey, we're gonna move on to the next guest. But hey, appreciate you coming up, Noah.
Yeah, appreciate
right.
you letting me on.
Yeah. You got it. Have a good day.
You too.
Yeah, I was with you on that one. I was totally picking up what you were putting down, like that historical fiction thing. Yeah, what you were saying makes sense. And I know it was like a shower thought that he came up, with, which is totally fine. But yeah,
then in my opinion, he needs to take colder showers. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it needed more work. Yeah, I'm there. All right, so. Looks like we lost the person in our YouTube queue, so we'll. I thought I had somebody in, over on the TikTok side, and he's fucking Windows. Okay, well we don't have anybody, so it's just you and me now. So yeah, I totally understood where you were coming from there. Like when you were just making this distinction with, oh good, we got somebody with historical fiction versus fiction and. It sounds like it was more wanting it to be true than it actually being true. How's it going, Pipe Man?
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, doing well. Just for TikTok purposes, how old are you?
29.
Okay. All right. So what's
Old enough?
Yep, old enough. You got it. What's your best evidence that the Bible's true?
Reading the Bible.
Reading the Bible?
Reading the Bible, going to church my whole life, and listening to people as they gave examples in their life of how the Bible, by what the Bible teaches and what it says, that it not only happened to someone else they knew, but happened to themselves as well as myself.
Okay. See, the interesting thing is that, like, this is my buddy Jaron here. We both read the Bible, and it caused me to think it's not true. Same with him, and he actually did a fucking analysis on it. And verified it's not true. So how did we get to such different spots?
You and I?
Yeah, or yeah.
Or at least the people who you heard talk and
Mhm.
us. Like, yeah.
I mean, everybody's life is different, so it's kind of hard to
But the Bible's
differentiate.
not, though, right?
I'm sorry.
Like, I'm reading the same Bible as somebody else, no?
Are you? Or do you read the Bible?
Yeah.
I do it almost every day.
actually read the Bible more.
Yes,
than
I was about to say that. Yeah, than when I was a Christian. I read the Bible more than when I was a Christian.
Wait. Oh, actually, hold on.
Okay.
He's like, oh, my bad.
Yep.
See ya.
Yep.
Later.
Yep. I think he saw the mountain we were going to ask him to climb. Was like, I ain't got the boots for this hike, so gonna have to move on.
Everest. Oh no. I thought you said like something else.
Like this little tiny hill over here. Yeah, I didn't know it was gonna be
Yeah.
Everest. Oh shit. Exactly. Oh man. Okay. Well, just like that, we got somebody else who's jumping in. So we got Dalton who's jumped in. All right. So it's good. Hey Dalton, how's it going?
Hey, doing well, man. How are y'all?
Doing well. Just for TikTok purposes, are you at least 18?
Yes, I'm also 29.
Fantastic. All right. Okay. Well, what's your best evidence that the Bible's true?
Well, I do not have any evidence. I just have a because right now I'm at a point in my life to where I'm not sure what to believe,
Okay.
but I can see why you know, others, reading the Bible and everything. I have not read the whole Bible. I've just dove in for the first time.
Mm.
And just where I'm at, I can see how because I myself have clinged on to some things, and I could see how wanting an eternal life, and trying to walk this path, and it's like, do I strive to live an eternal life, or do I just believe in nothing? And that's the thing. So I can see the battle, and I'm trying to
Okay.
find that evidence myself.
All right.
So
What-
I've just
Let me ask you a
started
question.
the journey.
Okay, Dalton. Well, let me ask you a question. What does living an eternal life look like? Because you kind of were making a distinction versus believing nothing. Yeah. What distinguishes the two for you?
So that's why I'm trying to figure out where I'm at. And I'm still, I'm sorry, I'm freezing my butt off out here.
Oh, okay.
So
well,
I'm not going to take up too much of y'all's time, but
Yeah.
just from what I can see, because I'm trying to dive into, I guess, finding my spirituality and kind of what I believe, and I haven't really gotten anywhere yet.
okay.
But I love, it's the idea of an eternal life.
Oh, yeah. It's a great idea. In
it's
some ways, it's a
so
great idea.
easy.
Yeah.
You
hear it.
know, and I see how that can, we're all wired differently. I could see how that could be something to want to cling on to. And, I myself, I don't want to cling on to anything just yet, but, it does bring comfort to, I'm sure, a lot of people.
What do you
Uh,
prefer, a comfortable lie or an uncomfortable truth?
And see, that's the thing, an uncomfortable lie is it's not something you want to carry the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely not something I want. And as I said, I'm still looking for evidence, because that's the one thing we all need, is some reliable evidence.
Yeah.
And
I hear you.
especially with the way I'm wired. I mean, I'm looking for that, and the journey is it's rough, because we all want to be comforted. It's I know it's the way I'm wired. I'm not sure about others, but we all want to be comforted.
Yeah, I like comfort. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not much of a camper. I'm not an outdoors person. I prefer like a nice hotel with room service and robes and shit. That's comfort to me.
Yeah, give me the robe.
Yeah, but on the other hand, if the campsite is all I got, you know, if that's what's reality, then, you know, how would that, like, if this was just reality, that there is no God, what would change about your life? Like if you found out tomorrow.
You know, nothing would change for me. I'm sure for others it would be, you know, emotional, mental turmoil.
Yeah.
But, you know, it doesn't take away, nothing should take away from the value of life, regardless of a higher power. That's
Totally
what
agree
I
with that.
believe.
Yeah.
And nor if I found out there would be a God tomorrow, like if I, you know, could see that evidence, you know, right before me, I don't think that would give my life more value than it already has.
I hear it.
Of course, you know, like I said prior, you know, of course, we all take comfort in knowing anything eternal, you know, such as eternal life.
So from that end, why believe it?
Right.
Because if
And
it
like I
doesn't, yeah,
said,
if it
you
doesn't
know,
do anything for your life, it doesn't, you know, it doesn't really change things. You could even argue that believing in a God actually lowers the value of life. You know, at least that's what I realized years later, is that I didn't look at life as valuable as I do now. Because if you're thinking that you're going to get to this eternal place, well, who gives a fuck what happens here? You know what I mean?
right.
Who really
right.
cares? As long as I'm doing me, as long as I'm good, you know. And I think that's what it becomes about. It becomes like this all about me thing. But now that I don't have this God anymore to believe in, then I'm suddenly starting to think about other people. I'm suddenly thinking, oh, you know, I only got like a finite amount of time on this earth. I gotta live it the best I can. I gotta actually treat people the best I can because, you know, my time's limited.
Absolutely. And yeah, I'm you know, it's you know, it's kind of like shame on me for just trying to dig in and you know, just, and like I said, I'm in the beginning stages of
It's fair.
starting this journey.
Yeah.
I know you guys have been there, done that. You've read it and, you know, done your own analysis on it, and, you know, and I like to do that for myself because I do, you know, when it comes to the Bible, I think is a different ball game. Of course, you know, I'd like to think there's a higher power, and I don't know if science could be able to disprove that. You know, I think the reality might even be that, you know, our minds are too ignorant to, you know, I believe even if there were, my brain is too ignorant to claim to know the mind of a God. So, you know,
Well, whose
I
fault is
I
that
wanna-
though?
right, exactly.
Because I mean, if you let's just, and I'm not saying this at all. You sound like a pretty, you know, I mean, you're communicating fine, so I can understand you, and you know, and you can understand me by all accounts. But what I'm trying to understand then is if we're, you know, and I'm just going to throw all of us in there. We're too stupid to fully comprehend this God, right? Well, if God made everything, I mean, isn't that his fault? Because couldn't he have made us in a way that we would understand him? Or wouldn't that even be
Right.
an even better reason to make yourself present so that people know that you're around? You see what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. No, I definitely see that. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, and I think my perspective kind of, you know, aligns with you a little bit. You know, but yeah, at the end of the day, I will say this. I'm freezing out here, guys.
All right.
I am happy. I'm happy we're sharing the journey under the same sky.
Yeah.
And I appreciate your time and having me on here, and I hope y'all
right.
have a wonderful night.
Yeah, you too. Warm up. Don't get
All
frostbite,
right, will
man.
do.
All right, man. Have a good
All
one.
right. All right, you too. Bye.
All right. That's what I was kind of thinking too. But we got another one in the queue, so let's bring him up. Okay, so we got Jesse and then Bruce. So let's bring up Jesse. All right. Just one after the other. This is cool. How you doing, Jesse?
Hey, how are y'all doing?
Doing well. For TikTok purposes, are you at least 18?
Yeah, I'm 31.
Okay, fantastic. And why do you think the Bible's true?
I think that ask the question as a whole. I don't think that it's true for everybody. I think that it's more like a personal invitation.
Okay.
I think that we get too fixated into trying to figure it out if it is true or not, and not really doing what we're supposed to be doing. Um, it's I heard earlier that we were kind of talking about like fictional characters and things that happen, and there's a lot of fiction um, that could be interpreted as fiction in the Bible. But if you don't apply that fiction, and I'm not talking about like the miracles or anything, I'm talking about
Can I
feeding the
interrupt you?
poor.
I'm sorry to interrupt you
Of
for a
course.
second.
Yeah,
I
go ahead.
just peeked over at the chat. Did
Yeah.
we really just come up with trust before Jesus? Because that is dope. Just saying. Isn't
There we go.
that fucking dope?
I like it.
I like it.
It's definitely good.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
the chat's going off the rails. There.
yeah, man. They're just eating that up. Okay, sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
It caught my eye,
No
and I
worries,
had
no
to say
worries.
something about that. But nice job,
this is
chat.
y'all's
I
space.
love it. I love it. All
This
right,
is
go
y'all's
ahead.
space.
Go ahead, Jesse. Go ahead. Continue.
Um, yeah, it's very personal, and there's nothing wrong with rejecting it. Um, I strongly believe that there's a lot of things in the Bible that people take to heart, when in reality, like you were saying earlier, if there is God that knows more than we do, he's still gonna make his decisions regardless of what we think or what we say.
Yeah, for sure.
There is no real outcome to anything that we do until the day that we die. And so the only thing that we can do is, keep doing
I don't
what we're
agree with
doing,
that.
what we're doing it when
Yeah.
we're alive.
Well, so
Like,
okay, I hear that. So if it's like a personal thing for you, because what you've basically done, Jesse, is you have now validated every single religion that's ever existed, because it's all based on their personal experience, right? All of
yeah,
it is.
but see, that's the thing with other religions that I, like at least the ones that I have come around, none of them really tell you that your belief is going to be what makes you closer to having a relationship with God.
Okay.
It's all about how good or how bad you are.
Well, I think
like,
the oracles in the ancient Greek pantheon would disagree with you, because they felt that they had a very personal relationship with the Greek gods. They were oracles. They talked to gods.
but it was from a level of deity versus the God that is revealed in the Bible is from a paternal side, like a father side, not as a God deity.
Well, I mean, you're
Whereas
saying
all
that now, but I mean, we really don't know what they felt, thought, heard, spoke of.
Right. I mean, it's the same thing with. So that's another argument that I was gonna get into earlier when we were talking about like historical fiction.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm just not sure how that makes it true. That's
I
what I'm
was
getting
raised
at.
in a country when I was up until the point that I was 14. I was raised in a country where there's a lot of history that is
Mhm.
given to you, like that's your history, and there's a lot of things that once you grow up, like there is this guy who put I think it was 100 kilos slab on his back, and he fought a whole army, and he went with a torch, and he like burned a whole. It was like a wooden gate, so a
Okay.
lot of people could be freed, and that's part of your history. Like that's if you are from that country, that's what you have to accept as the truth, because that's what the truth that you're shown.
Okay.
So to them, it's not fiction. To them, it happened. To them, it was real.
Sure. Now what we're looking at is, when we say the Bible is true, do you think that there are things that are objectively true in this world?
There is things in the Bible. There is all of it in the Bible that is true.
All of it is true. Oh boy, here we go. All right. So all of it is true. So if we found one thing that wasn't true, then what would that do to your belief?
I don't think it will do anything to my belief, because again, it's personal.
It's personal. Okay. So it wouldn't affect your and just to make it clear, I'm not trying to affect your belief in that sense. I'm not trying to
whatsoever.
convince you, sway
I'm not
you.
feeling any way. I'm
But
just here
are
to
you
talk.
okay? Yeah, I hear you. But even if we found things that are in the Bible that are not true, like, have you read the whole Bible?
When I was younger, I read the whole Bible. Right
Mhm.
now, I'm on the 5th book that I'm actually like reading verse by verse,
Okay.
and just taking my time to actually digest
How else
everything that
would
is
you
on
read
it.
it?
Huh?
How else would you read it other than verse by verse?
Just the same way that. Have you ever read like anime or manga?
You mean you read it like right to
Right
left?
to left?
No. Like okay, if you read any book, you can skim through. Like you don't
Oh,
really
I
have
see.
to.
Like jump around. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, like you don't have
Oh,
to read it. When I take tests for a book, like I don't read the whole book. I go to the most important areas and I study that. But that's not how you should read the Bible.
okay. Because I mean, that's exactly how I deconstructed from my belief, was reading it verse by verse.
Right. That's what I was saying. Like earlier when I was younger, I would just read it to read it, like, just like go burst, like just skim through.
Hmm.
Oh, this is David. Oh, cool. He did this. He did that. But in reality, I didn't read everything that he did. How did he
Yeah.
became who he was? So
Okay.
that's where I'm at right now.
Okay. And so,
So
it,
if I'm being truthful, I'm on like the 5th book where I can tell you, oh yeah, I have read up to the 5th book
I got you.
where
So,
Okay.
so you've made it already past the certain parts where it's talking about the laws and everything like that.
yeah, in Leviticus.
Yeah. So
Exodus and Leviticus.
how did you make it past that, and you're still thinking,
That's what I'm
man,
trying to.
there's some good
That's what
stuff in here.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Because
wondering.
it just showed the bad aspects of myself.
Of
Everything that
yourself.
Of
everything
yourself?
that everything that
You didn't write the
when
laws
God
concerning how to enslave your fellow man.
right, because it was an allowance. It wasn't nowhere in the Bible does it say that God was proud about it. Nowhere in none of the
He's telling him how to do it.
Deuteronomy
he's talking-
28:63,
he's
my
telling me,
guy.
okay, so let's say that you are my father, like any
Mm-hmm.
of you are my father, and you are telling me how to raise my grandchildren, right? Because you have been a father before me,
Yeah.
and you're telling me how to raise my children, right? So
Okay.
if you tell me to do something that they don't agree or that they don't like, who is gonna be at fault? You or me?
I would say it depends on
Well, who
depends
the
on
children are gonna blame for it?
who are the children going to blame for it. I mean,
What do you mean?
depends on
Something
what-
that
yeah.
are you just simply saying that like we don't like slavery? Like that's the reason.
No.
That's the reason why those laws are trash.
No,
not
no,
to
do you-
mention, if your if I am your father and I tell you to do something with your kids or something that they
Give me
don't
like
like,
5 seconds. I'm just
the
gonna put the children
situation
downstairs.
here is that your kids get to eventually
Hold on.
find out that I
Hold on,
told them.
Jaron. He's dealing with this baby. One
Just
second.
just 5 seconds so I can put my baby
Yeah,
downstairs.
yeah.
'cause
No
they're about
worries.
to have dinner.
No worries. Got you.
What is it?
Mama Hope Santiago. Dinner's ready.
Okay.
Take him.
No, I'll put him downstairs.
Come on, you wanna eat?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Shit, I want to eat.
let's do it.
Yeah. So I'm all with that baby. Yep. Yep. Yeah,
I mean,
I'm really wanting to talk
I
about
think
this
now
whole.
I've heard this argument
God wasn't
or
proud
a
of it.
variation of it before,
Mhm.
where it's basically it's the idea of there's going to be some things that you have to do with your kids that your kids might not like, but it's still something that you have to get through.
Sorry.
But,
Go ahead. Sorry.
All right.
yeah. So really quick, just to make sure, who you gave an analogy? You gave an analogy of
Yeah.
us, I guess, being your dad, and then we tell you how to raise your kids or something.
Yeah. Like
Okay,
So-
so really quick, if that's the analogy, could you please connect like who each character in the analogy is in the Bible? Like connect it for me.
so God will be the father, right?
Okay.
So God is me. Okay.
Right. Me
And then
as the
you're
son.
Moses.
Me as the son. No, me as the son. I'm Israel.
Okay.
Okay.
And sorry,
Like Jacob or the
I
country
had
of
to go
Israel?
down. I had to go up and down the stairs. Give me 1 second.
Yeah. Yeah. No worries. No worries.
I literally ran down.
Hey, you're getting your workout in. That's good.
Man, 31 is not easy. I tell you that.
Wait till you get to 54.
I used to go down, up and down the stairs like it was nothing, dude. It's ice outside. I don't even want to go outside because I feel like I'm gonna slip.
I heard
and
that.
It's just not gonna be the same anymore.
Yeah.
Trust but verify is he's got that like,
Um,
motorized seat that goes up the
I
stairs.
do. I think, man, don't call me out like
Hey.
that.
We're laughing right now. But we're gonna need it. It's funny. It's funny until you need it.
So okay, so
and
you're
the children,
so you're
the children will be everybody else
Gotcha.
that gets taught after. Like
Yep.
pretty much everybody that reads the Bible.
yeah. Okay, so you're Israel, and And when you say Israel, are you Jacob or are you the country Israel, like the nation?
The nation,
Oh, okay,
nation-wise,
nation.
not
All
not
right.
Jacob as right.
Okay.
So your analogy was the idea that like if the father tells the son to do something or how to raise his kids or something like that, and he gives advice that the kids don't necessarily like, that it's going to be the son who gets blamed and not the father initially, right?
Correct. Because
But in this particular case, the people who are reading the Bible are seeing that it's the words of the father.
Yeah.
but okay,
So
but the children,
I'm not.
So
I'm not blaming Israel.
okay,
I'm not
so
blaming Moses. I'm not blaming the Jews. I'm blaming God in this particular instance,
yes,
because if
but
this story is
that's
true, God is the one who is explicitly giving the rules that
that's the point that I was trying to
saying
make.
things that aren't good.
Israel people were already enslaving people.
Okay.
God
I mean, we
knowing
don't have any evidence of that. Where's your evidence that they were?
because they were slaves before.
Uh-huh.
They like the whole premise of where you're reading that, like when God is giving them all these laws,
Yeah.
is because when they leave Egypt, the mentality that they were leaving Egypt is that they wanted to be like Egypt. Like
No,
in their
okay.
head.
Slow down. So when did they have slaves before? Because it seems like God suggests the idea of, he
It
tells
was
them
like
how
from
to have
the
slaves and
jump.
everything. Where's the slaves before that?
Yeah, they didn't have slaves before that. That's what we're trying to say.
So this one is gonna be an assumption.
Okay.
I love those.
Because I would have to go. No, because I don't want to misquote the Bible. I don't have it right in front of me.
Oh, we got it. We got it right here. We got it right here,
Okay.
fam. So we
in
can
between
pull it
where
up for
God tells him to grab everything that they can,
you. Uh-huh.
there has to be a passage somewhere where it mentions it, because when after they leave and they're already like in the desert, when God makes the laws, he tells them that everybody that they have with them, like that they are like that they people who are not directly from the Jacob tribe, right? They have to do the same sacrifices and the same rituals that they were doing.
Could God have said to them, let these slaves go?
Yes, but that's the point that I'm trying to make. He was trying to tell them how to atone themselves from doing something bad, because he knew that they were going to do
By
something
doing
bad.
something bad?
By doing
Yes,
something bad?
God did not like slavery. God did not want slavery.
That's why
Okay.
he never said free the slaves. He said this is how you.
And
This is how
what
you
I was
enslave
saying,
them.
and that's what I was saying. Okay, so again, we go back to the analogy. You're my dad. You tell me not to smoke. I smoke anyways, right?
But he
Then my
didn't tell
kids-
him
then
that.
I
He
tell
didn't
you
tell him
how
not to
to
have
smoke
slaves.
No, but
Yeah.
this is what I'm getting at. Now my kids are smoking, right? Now my kids are smoking, right?
Yeah.
Which is okay. Let's use the slavery. Then let's use slavery. I already have slaves.
Wait, slow down. If we're going back to that analogy, then I would be telling you to smoke.
Mm-hmm.
You then teach your kids to smoke.
Right, but if they decide not to do it or do it at the same time,
But then,
Yeah, and then they'd look and see that I told you to smoke, and
Yeah.
they'd be like, "Wow, Grandpa was a fucking idiot."
yeah, he was fucking idiot. But the other part of it is what Grandpa would be telling you would be, if you do smoke, only smoke the filtered cigarettes. Don't smoke the non-filtered ones. And get them from the Turkish import. Get the Turkish
Yeah.
tobacco, not the South American tobacco. You know what I mean?
right, that's what I'm saying. He would not tell you not. He will tell you the best way to do it, right? Because okay, I have a daughter.
And what does she smoke?
Formula at the moment. I
Formula.
think I haven't really went through her stuff.
That's not a bad thing.
I
Okay.
really haven't went through her stuff,
right.
but I'm pretty sure it's not Coke. I'm pretty sure it's just formula at the moment.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
I cannot stop her from having sex when she's 18.
Okay,
I cannot stop her
Okay.
from taking nudes.
We jumped.
that was a big jump. Yeah,
Let's keep it on slaves or smoking at the moment.
yeah.
No, because that's the truth. I'm not gonna be able to stop her. I'm not gonna be able to stop her from having a husband. I'm not gonna be able to do whatever she wants to do at a certain point when she's an adult.
Okay, well, those are things that aren't like bad. In this particular case, slavery is bad. Smoking is bad. It just
So
for everybody who's not aware,
having
smoking is
unprotected
bad.
sex is not bad.
Say what?
Having unprotected sex is not bad.
How
Not
the
in,
fuck do you think you got here?
not in a marriage, no.
So if she gets a STD or if she gets something,
You're just kind of throwing this into the situation. You just literally said I can't stop her from getting married. If she
right?
gets married
No,
and
that's
has
what I'm
something-
saying. I cannot
Okay.
stop those things from happening. So what I'm gonna tell her: wear a condom, be safe.
Okay.
Oh my
But-
god.
Okay, but see, this is a pretty. I'm just saying, are you telling me that it's equivalent? Unprotected sex is equivalent to, or sex outside of marriage? I think that's really what you're talking about. That's equivalent to slavery.
No. I'm not talking about. Well, I'm just talking sex. Period. Like you don't. I'm not saying
Okay.
something in particular.
What's worse, slavery or sex?
That's the trick in the Bible. There is no worse or not. Sin is sin.
Okay.
Bad is bad.
Well, no. It never says to not have slaves. So
Yeah. So slavery
Yeah, but
technically
what-
isn't a
what-
sin.
yeah,
using the
but-
Bible.
but what
in
is to
fact,
say
if
that
you're
is-
using the Bible specifically, then sex would be worse.
Yeah.
But what does it
than-
say in the Bible to
than
do?
slavery.
What it says in the Bible to do is what it says above my head. That's what it says to do, is to take them from
No,
other countries.
Yeah, to treat them right.
No, that
He's
is
not
not
even
about
treating
treating
them
them right. No.
yes,
well,
it
okay.
says to treat him like he's from your family.
All right. So let's go to that part where it says to treat them right. Exodus 21. Have you read Exodus 21, my guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's all the way to Deuteronomy.
Okay. Is it? I think it's 10 to 21. Oh, wait. We gotta include 7 to 21 since you have a daughter, because I got a daughter too. So let's start with 7, because that's where it gets really fun. So 7, when a man sells his daughter as a slave, she shall not go out as the male slaves do. So, and according to this guest, you could
can do
sell
it.
you could sell your daughter. How much would you sell your daughter for?
She's priceless, so I wouldn't.
You wouldn't. Okay.
MasterCard.
Okay. So you wouldn't. All right. Well, that's good to hear. Now, are you doing the right thing or the wrong thing?
It doesn't say that I have to do it.
No,
It's
it doesn't
giving
say
me
that
the
you have to
option
do it.
that
That's
if
not what I
did-
asked. What I asked is, are you doing the right thing or the wrong thing?
Am I doing the right thing or the wrong thing by what? By
Not selling her. Yeah.
Oh, I'm doing the right thing by
Okay.
not selling her.
If you were to sell her, are you doing the right thing or the wrong thing?
Wait, again, sorry.
If you
If
were
I
to
did-
sell your daughter, let's say
I'm
tomorrow,
doing the wrong. I'm
Yeah.
doing the wrong thing.
you're doing the wrong thing. So this is God's law, verse 7. So why
Uh-huh.
would God allow people to do the wrong thing in the law? If it's the
There
wrong
is a
thing,
law-
it says
there is
when a
law in
man
the
sells
state-
his daughter as a
I don't
slave.
know which state there is here in the United States
Man,
that
we're
you're
not
not
talking
allowed
about-
to have a.
I don't think God gave us the state rights.
No. Listen to this one. Listen to, because it's kind of funny too. There is a law in the state somewhere on one of the states. I will have to pull it up, where you cannot ride your car with a kangaroo on the back.
Yeah.
Why was that law written?
No idea. Doesn't really answer my question though, because that's
That
what I'm
law-
trying to
okay,
understand.
That law is there for a reason. Why
Right.
is that law there?
Okay.
Because somebody wanted to sell her daughter. God is not saying, yeah, that's the nice thing to do. God's not
Okay.
saying, yeah, everybody should follow this role model. He's saying, because this guy did it, I'm going to have to tell you guys how you should do it because you guys are dumb and don't know how to do it properly.
Did God tell us
Properly.
properly? So there's a
You think
proper
there's
way
a
to sell
proper way
daughters?
to sell-
No,
sell
there
your
is
daughter?
not. That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't done it. He would have said, no, you shouldn't do
Okay.
it. But because you guys are going to
Then
do
why
it,
didn't he say no? Don't do it.
Don't
if
do
it's
it.
the
Wouldn't
wrong
that be
thing?
the proper thing to do?
because they were already not listening to him.
Okay, so
Wait, then why give a law?
why
if
even
no
give a
one's gonna
law
listen?
if no one's going to listen?
Why even let him be alive?
Okay.
Why
Let me-
not kill everybody?
Let's ask it this way, Jesse. What were they listening to him about the Sabbath?
Not all of them.
Not all of them. So, but there was a law against working on the Sabbath, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a law against working on the Sabbath. There was a law against murder, right?
Yeah.
Not everybody listened there.
Nope.
Okay, so I'm trying to understand then, or actually, we're trying to understand. You're thinking about, okay, well, there's a law against adultery. There's a law against murder. There's a law against working on the Sabbath, and people still did all that shit anyway. So why couldn't there not have been a law that says don't sell your daughter?
It all tied to when Jesus came.
Okay, but so did those other things. So then why even have any laws that outlawed anything if it all tied to when Jesus came? Because then you should just work on the Sabbath. You should just commit adultery. You should be able to murder people. And there should have been laws that said when you murder somebody, you know,
the New
don't.
Testament says all food is now completely fine to be on your table and you can eat everything. Then why even give rules about what shellfish you can eat?
Because
and, like,
back then,
what mammals you can't eat?
they didn't know how to properly eat the shellfish.
Okay. So was there a proper way to murder people?
No, there's no.
Okay.
He said it on the beginning. You should. The
Okay.
first person.
So
who got
under no
convicted was Cain.
circumstances can you murder. Under no circumstances can you commit adultery. Under
Nope.
no circumstances can you work on the Sabbath. There's no proper way at all to do that, but there are proper ways to sell your daughter. That's what we're hearing from you. That's what you're telling us. Do you realize
Yeah,
that?
that when God allows something, according to you, it's because the human beings now understand the proper
We're
way
too
to
stupid to do it. So
therefore
we
it's
need
fine.
we need a proper way to do it. So that means there is a proper way to sell your daughter.
No, it's not that it's supposed. Maybe I spoke too harshly when I said properly.
Well, you also just said that there's now a proper way to cook shellfish, which is why God allows for you to do it.
There
But
is
God
a proper.
allows for you
There is
to-
actually a proper way to cook shellfish.
Cool. So God allowed for you to do it whenever He knew that there was a proper way.
There was
right?
a proper way. That means there's a proper way to sell your daughter.
Yeah, because He allows for you to do it, and tells you exactly what that proper way is.
Yeah, it literally tells you. We can go back
Like
to
He doesn't just say in
Exodus.
the New Testament. It doesn't say, "Oh, hey guys, shrimp is now completely fine."
Okay,
and
but
also
so
here's exactly how
are
you
we
should
also-
grill it.
are we
Here's
also
the
taking
temperature
it-
and everything like that. No, but it explicitly lays out rules as to how to do the selling of a daughter.
Yeah, it says it right here.
Are we also taking into consideration that the way that they traded their slavery was not the same way as we see slavery?
Is owning a human being
Right.
ever okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they only did this because
Wait,
of
no,
debt.
no. Slow down.
Yeah.
It's a yes or no.
Oh, I'm
Is
sorry. I didn't
owning
know it
a-
was a question.
No,
Sorry. I
hold
thought
up. Listen to the question first.
Yes.
And listen to every single word of the question before you answer it, because I
Yes.
want to make sure that you answer it very, very correctly, and because there is a right or a wrong answer to this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
go
just
ahead.
want to make sure. Is there ever an okay way to own a human being?
No, there's no price for anybody.
Yeah.
I
It's not really
didn't
what
say
he.
price.
Yeah, it's not what he really asked.
I didn't ask for a price. I said,
own
is there
a
an
human being,
okay
like-
situation where owning a human being is okay? Is there a situation where owning a human being is okay?
For me, to myself, to do it to myself, yes. For myself, not
For
for
you?
anybody else. For myself.
There
Yeah.
is? What
Yeah.
What is that situation that it's okay for you to own a human being?
No. For me to be the one that it's owned by.
For you to be owned?
So as long as you're not the slave,
No, I'm the slave. I'm saying the
slavery is
opposite. I'm the
fine.
slave in this scenario. I would sell myself. That's what I said.
no, it doesn't say to sell yourself. It says to sell your daughter.
It-
man.
Yeah, it says
it
to sell your
does.
daughter.
If you have it says that the way for you to slavery back then was accounted for debt. If you had a debt.
No, okay.
If I
you
had a
said-
debt with you, I had to work for you for 7 years.
Okay.
Yes, that's
Okay,
in the,
pull back
Hold
up
on.
that thing. And,
Okay,
and it says
we're gonna
that
go to
you
Leviticus
literally
25.
Become the children's inheritance.
Yeah, for life. So we're gonna pull
For
that part
life.
up. Yeah, that's the part.
I
that
think it was
we-
on the last one that you.
Yeah, it's Leviticus 25,
Hmm.
46.
Can we Google?
There it goes.
Because I
Verse
can't-
46. Read
No,
verse 46.
we're gonna read the Bible, my guy. So it's right here.
No, I know. I'm trying to read something else for the Bible, but I can't pull it up on my phone.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
there's-
afraid
It's
that
right there on your phone right now.
It's right up on your. It's right on my. It's right above my head. Just look on your
As for the
screen.
male and female slaves whom you may have, it is from nations around you that you may acquire male and female slaves. You may also acquire them from among the aliens residing with you and from their families who are with you, who have been born in your land. They may be your property. You may keep them as a possession for your children after you, for them to inherit as property. These you may treat as slaves, but as your fellow Israelites, no one should rule over other with harshness.
Okay, so should I would I be doing the right thing if I went to one of these detention centers, because these are from nations around me, and I start picking out people that I want to be my slaves? Would I be doing the right thing? Because according to this, that's what I can do.
No, it would not be okay.
It would not be okay. Okay.
No.
So what we're trying to understand then from your perspective, because it
Mhm.
says here, you may keep them as a possession for your children after you, which is life. So you can hand them down like their inheritance. Like you can hand them down to your children. You can pass them on. So what we're trying to understand, me and Jaron are trying to understand, is if you're saying this isn't okay, why is God allowing this?
There's a lot of things that he allows that not necessarily like he's not saying that he likes them to happen.
We're not saying he likes them. We're saying he
didn't say that.
allows them.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that
Okay.
he's allowing to happen right now that
Okay.
I don't agree with.
So let me put it this way. So let's just say you're a parent, right? And
Yeah.
I'm a parent. I got a 15-year-old daughter. So
Yeah.
if I let my daughter run a Pablo Escobar ring out of her room, okay, she becomes the next El Chapo. I don't
Right,
even
right,
know I can say that on here, but
La Chapa?
La Chapa. Yeah, La Chapa. So she becomes La Chapa. And I say, well, as long as she does it this way, and that way, I'm not a bad parent. Am I a good or a bad parent? If I just control it. So let's just say, look, you can be La Chapa after school, but you better do your homework, girl.
In this age that we are living in right now, it's a tough thing to say because a lot of people. Oh, okay. Tell me this is not true. Tell me that there's not a lot of people right now that will tell you she's her own person. You have no right of telling her what to do. Tell me that there is not.
There isn't.
That has nothing.
There is
to
not
do
really.
with
not
There's no
relevant to
There's
this.
not one parent. There's not a.
It's not relevant to. Are you telling me that CPS would not come knocking on my door if I let her be La Chapa out of her
My
bedroom?
wife. Okay. You
After
guys
school
don't
and
have to-
weekends.
You guys don't have to believe this. You guys don't have to believe this. My wife
I'm
was
already
beat up.
not going to.
My
Yeah.
wife was
This
beat
is
up
wild.
by her. My wife was beat up by her dad.
Oh, I'm
and
sorry
her
to hear that.
sisters were.
Sorry to hear that.
Hold on,
actually
hold
do
on.
believe it.
They called CPS 3 times. None of the 3 times that they called CPS so they could be taken ever came.
Okay.
So we live in a world
we
where
do
the things that are
happen
supposed
like
to
that. Yeah. Things
There
happen.
is
That
things
You're
is,
in
absolutely
this
right.
world.
that is a terrible thing,
It's
but
an
that
awful
does
thing.
not
Yes, but that-
excuse. Listen, Jesse, that is a terrible thing that happened, and I feel bad for her.
Yeah.
I feel bad for you, and I feel bad for everyone involved. CPS should have done something. However, that does not excuse an instance of a father like Trust or something like that allowing for his daughter to be La Chapa out of
Right.
her bedroom
But you're-
after
but you're
she
in
gets
But I'm
home.
control of
doing it
what
after
you're-
school and weekends. I'm making sure she does it after school and weekends because I don't want her
Yes, but you're
failing
in
her
control
classes.
of what you're given.
Okay. So what I'm trying to understand though is, would I be a good parent? That's what I need to hear from you. Yes or no?
To her, you could be the best parent, even if you're doing the bad things.
Okay. So La Chapa, letting her be La Chapa after school and weekends. I've just restricted to that. So
I
if
mean,
I
he already just admitted that it's a bad thing.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, you just said, Jesse, you said it's a bad thing. Regardless of how she feels, he feels, you feel, Kevin down the street feels, it's a bad thing, and you just said it. You said the quiet part out loud.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
a bad thing.
It's a bad
so
thing.
God allows for people to do bad things and even gives them rules on how to do it in Exodus and Leviticus.
Yes.
Yeah, that is a bad thing.
That's
God,
a bad thing.
That is God allowing and telling you exactly how to do a bad thing.
But he's not
He's
telling you
evil
to do
and he's
those
morally
things, though.
bankrupt.
That's what I'm saying. He's not
we just
telling
read
you-
it, my
he's not-
guy.
We just read them.
We just read it. Do we need to read it again, Jesse?
But he's not okay. In the verse,
He's not
there is no-
commanding. Yes, you're right. He's not commanding. He's allowing. And so
Yes.
what we're asking is allowing good or bad?
Okay, then let's put a parenthesis on that one. Why is if everything that we're talking about is true, as the Bible is true, right? Or whatever, where we are again, right? Why is Lucifer or Satan still around? Why does he allow that to happen?
Well, that's another point that doesn't make a lot of sense. That's you're
It
absolutely
doesn't
right
have to
about
make
that.
sense
It
'cause
makes
it's not for us.
it makes
You make your decision
okay.
whether to follow him
Then
or
if
not
it doesn't
follow him.
make sense, and if it doesn't have to make sense, then you can't sit here and say that the Bible is true. You can't sit here and say that God is real or God is good or whatever you have about whatever your idea of God is. You can't affirmatively say that's what it is if you retreat to, well, we don't know the real reasons why, or we don't know why he does this. You see what I'm saying?
But that's what I started the conversation with.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
That was the pinnacle of what I started with. I have
Yes.
not been moved from what I said earlier.
No, you
during the
haven't
conversation.
moved. It's just that we're, I know we've come full circle. I do understand that. But what I'm saying though is that you can't say that this God is anything than what you believe, that it's just a belief. That's it. You don't have any evidence for it. It's just a belief. And there's got to be other reasons why you
I guess
believe it.
I'll put it this way, if I may.
Yeah. Last thing, and then I got to do a vote. But go ahead. Actually, I'm going to start the vote, but you can talk. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jesse.
If there is things that are in the Bible that even God commanded for them to be done, and in my rationality and in my heart, I don't feel that they're the right thing to do, I will still do the right thing, even though there might be punishment from God, but I will take that punishment like a man.
I'm feeling a deconstruction zone question, Jaron. What do you think? I'm feeling one. If God told you to go to the local orphanage, round up all the babies, Jesse.
Yeah.
And
Here comes the paste.
Yep. Throw them in a blender and make baby paste and line your driveway with it. Would that be a good thing or a bad thing God told you to do?
I wouldn't do it, but I will take the punishment.
You
if
wouldn't
was
do it?
something that he commanded.
Okay.
Yeah, but I will take the punishment.
You would take the punishment. All right.
That means that you have a better understanding of right and wrong than your God. You're
I don't
capable of
have it.
saying,
He gave
"Hey,
it to me. I don't have it. He gave it to me.
No.
Yeah.
If God is commanding you to do certain things, like in the book that you're about to read, in Deuteronomy, in Deuteronomy 20:10, I'm going to read this verse really fast for you. It says, "When you draw near to a town to fight against it, offer it terms of peace. If it accepts your terms of peace and surrenders to you, then all the people in it shall serve you in forced labor." It is not just a matter of paying off a debt. God explicitly tells the Israelites to go into towns around them, attack them, offer them
but we're
terms
also
of peace, and then enslave
in that
them.
regard, we're also not mentioning that at this point, all these people that they're gonna go fight against and everything that develops after were people who were already like sacrificing their children and they were already not following what
So
God
then
wanted them
that
to do.
means that there are situations that you think it's okay to enslave people, after you just told us there are no situations where it's okay to enslave people.
No. What I said was that we're not like we're only looking at one perspective or not perspective. We're only looking at the situation of as if it's happening, but we're not talking about everything that happened prior to that.
Okay.
happened.
So
I'm still agreeing with you guys. I'm just saying
Jesse.
that we're not mentioning what happened prior to that.
Jesse, whatever happened prior to it, the Israelites are still doing, and God is
Okay.
No, listen. God is explicitly commanding it. Let me continue. In verse 12, it says, if the city or the town does not submit to you peacefully, but makes war against you, then you shall besiege it. And when the Lord your God gives it into your hand, you shall put all of its males to the sword. You may, however, take as your reward the women, the children, livestock, and everything else in the town, all its spoil. You may enjoy the spoil of your enemies, which the Lord your God has given you.
So then
that's a command.
That's a command.
Then one last question then. And we don't have to elaborate
Do
on
you
it.
feel like, Jesse, that is a good thing or a bad thing?
Oh, it's a bad thing.
Okay.
If we're
What that
looking at it from that perspective,
Jesse,
it's a bad thing.
Jesse, what that means is that your understanding of right or wrong is better than the God of the Bible. Yahweh is a morally bankrupt thug, and you are better than that.
I'm not above him. I could never
You
say that.
literally are.
All right.
I
And you
can't
know
say
it
that.
because you're saying that it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
That
All
you
right.
can't.
I can never say that.
Hey,
I'm
Jesse,
sorry.
we got to move on, but hey, I appreciate you coming up.
Wait, sorry. Well, just one last question, quick. And we don't have to elaborate on it. You can just guys keep it. Like we don't have to.
Yeah, go ahead, real quick.
So the natives in America being colonized, right? Should they not have been colonized?
They should not have been colonized. No, absolutely not. All right. Hey, thanks for your time, Jesse. Appreciate you. All right. No.
Oh, that was a layup.
Yeah, that was a layup. Yeah, I didn't have to think about that. No, should not have been colonized. Absolutely not. Nobody should be colonized. I'm just going to kind of say that out loud right now in case there's confusion. Nobody should be fucking colonized. Nobody. Just saying. Wow. Hey, if you're not following Christ before Jesus, there's something seriously wrong with your choices, your life choices. So please do. You absolutely got to follow Christ before Jesus. And homie's got a book. Did you guys know that? If you didn't know, homie's got a book. In fact, here, let's blow him up so y'all can see it. Let's expand him so you guys can see it. And it's glory. He's got a book. Look at that. It's a beautiful book. It's a big, beautiful book. Yeah. I knew you were going to look at me like that. It's not a big, beautiful book. It's a beautiful book. It's a fantastic book. It's an amazing book. It's really good. I actually just finished it. It's amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I just finished it.
We try to present it as more or less an encyclopedia of mythicism, to where we lay it out in different questions so people can kind of jump around, skip around. You don't have to read it in order or verse by verse, as that guy was saying. You can read it like a manga, as he said.
Yes.
You can just kind of jump all over the place.
Yes, exactly. Sanji Targaryen says it is a big black book. It definitely is.
Well, wait until the next one. It is a bigger, blacker book.
It's going to be, yes.
The blacker the berry, the sweeter the facts. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, you know, he's not lying, right? He's not lying. He's not lying. So yeah, it's a fantastic book. Just finished it, and yeah, it swung the needle for me. I mean, I am fully doubting whether Jesus existed now. Just fully doubting.
I think a lot of it, and I say this a lot on my live, is that you have to deconstruct from all of it. And I feel like there's a hang up that people tend to have whenever they leave the religion. They assume that the history that was given to them by people or members of that religion is probably still accurate to some extent. And when we have scholars, especially religious scholars, Bible scholars, who talk about Jesus, and they all say, oh, Jesus, he most likely existed or probably existed, or we don't have a problem with him existing, or even a handful of them saying, oh, he definitely did, you know. You gotta wonder how many of those people are personally religious themselves. And it's actually a strikingly high amount of people who are, I mean, there's pastors, literal preachers that make up that list of biblical scholars who say that Jesus existed. So you got to kind of wade through that a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that just because they're preachers, they automatically are wrong. I'm not saying that. It's a matter of, okay, are they possibly looking at the evidence that we have through rose-colored glasses? And are they looking at this and making assumptions that when the church says this is the history of it, or this is the person who wrote it, or this is when it was written, that it's accurate, you know? And so we try our best to do a deep dive into it from a scientific standpoint.
Yeah. And it's well done too. And also there's a YouTube video of how you do it too, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You guys got interviewed.
We actually have there's an interview on the YouTube channel Myth Vision, where me and my co-author were interviewed for about an hour, and we do 3 live demonstrations of the software that we use and how it works and everything. So, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of resources that we try to.
And you guys should check out that video. Yeah, it's really like eye-opening. Yeah, definitely like puts everything into like, oh, okay. It just ties up any type of loose ends or anything like that. It just puts it all into perspective. So highly recommend you all like get the book, read it, and then watch the video. Puts it all into place. Yeah.
We got any other guests?
Oh yeah, we do. We got at least, well, we got 2 on the YouTube side. So I'm going to pull somebody from YouTube, and then we got at least 1 from the TikTok side. So we're going to pull in, they didn't give their name yet. So your ID is K2MP4A3. So, so let's pull you in. yeah, it was yeah, it took me a while to get through it. Just I was just really digesting it, but I'm glad I did that too. Like I didn't just blow through it and read it really fast. I really took my time and read it, and I'm really glad I did that because I usually just, read books really, really fast. So
Gotcha.
glad I did that. Yeah, it took me like several months because it's a lot to digest. It's pretty heavy. It's a pretty
Yeah.
it's a full meal. Yeah, like each chapter is a pretty full meal. So I'm glad I did that. But interesting stuff, man. Very interesting. All right, so we're gonna pull in the next YouTube guest. I'm gonna unmute you now, person, and we'll have you on. Okay, IDK2MP483. How you doing? You should be able to hear me now.
Oh, I know her.
Hello, are you there? Hello. Okay, you may not be there. Okay, so all right, so the next person, let's bring you up, but I need a name from you. So E9KQ, the one you just left and came back. Let's bring you up. Oh wait, there they are. Okay, so you did reconnect. All right, yeah. What can we call you?
Mike.
Mike. All right. How you doing, Mike?
Hey.
All right. Good. So you're on TikTok as well, so we have to abide by their terms of service. So are you at least 18?
Yes.
Okay. And what's your best evidence that the Bible is true?
Okay. The best evidence is that the Bible is consistently accurate in its historical claims, even
Okay.
though archaeologists and historians will often try to say that certain claims are biblical myths. They later become proven to be true by archaeology and historical research.
Mm.
So for example, the Pilate stone showed that Pilate was a prefect in Judea.
Mm-hmm.
Or the House of David was shown by the Tel and Stele, and
Okay.
other things such as other things like that, right?
Yeah.
Exodus.
Well,
And also, so the
wait,
last
hold up.
thing it
Hold
would
up.
be then.
Hold up. Let's take these one at a time. So let's start with that.
So
Well,
who
I
was
just gonna
saying
say,
that
though,
Pilate was a myth?
Just that the whole thing rests on not on vague spirituality, but on one historical event,
Okay.
the resurrection of Jesus Christ,
Okay.
right?
Okay. So the question from Jaron was, who was saying that Pilate was a myth? I certainly didn't believe that.
It was.
I've never
there
believed
was
that.
some. It wasn't a widely believed claim among scholars, but because scholars didn't have any evidence in the Roman records up to that time, they thought that there was some scholars who tried to claim that he was a myth.
Okay. Now, how does that make the resurrection true then?
Well, the resurrection, that's other evidence for that, right? But I'm just saying that all these claims keep that the Bible makes, that the historians and scholars will say are biblical myths, are then later confirmed
Mm-hmm.
by their historical research. And even there is quite strong historical evidence for the resurrection as well.
All right. Like what?
Well, it's like, for example, all pretty much practically all historians of the period, the classical antiquity period, right, agree that Jesus Christ was crucified by Pontius Pilate.
From classical antiquity?
And,
Yeah, that's
the
not
evidence
true.
for the empty tomb. No, that's quite true. Almost practically, there's only a handful of scholars that deny it.
Muslim scholars thought that Jesus rose from the dead.
Muslim scholars. I'm talking about historians.
That's antiquity. Yeah. And they're historians from the period. Yeah.
Yeah. Like secular scholars. I'm not talking about religious scholars.
Who are Muslim.
Historians,
Yeah.
right? Not religious.
Historians who are Muslim. Yeah. That's what I'm asking. Historians who are Muslim at the time, did they believe that Jesus rose from the dead?
At the time or this? Or
Well,
today?
I'm going with what you said. You said at the time. And so
I'm
are you
talking about today?
you're talking about today. Okay. You're talking about today. You're saying that today, modern historians think that Jesus rose from the dead.
No, I'm saying that modern historians generally agree that Jesus was crucified. And
Yeah.
then the evidence for the resurrection is other evidence, such as the fact that even his enemies at the time agreed that the tomb was empty. And even historians today also agree that the disciples at least believe that he rose. Whether they agree that he literally rose, that's debatable, right? But historians today will agree that the disciples thought that he rose. They agreed
Okay.
that, you know.
How do we know there was a tomb in the first place?
How do we know there's a tomb for?
Yeah. What independent evidence do we have that
There's
there was a
public
tomb?
tomb? He was publicly buried in a rich man's grave, right? The Joseph of Arimathea.
Well, that's according to
So
the
that
Bible,
is-
but how do we know that happened?
Well, because if it's recorded in the Bible, and again, historians will agree with this as well, because if it's recorded in that book, and it's a public person who's a fairly well known member of the community, right? Then, if it was just made up, if that was not a true fact, right? Then other members of the community would have pointed that out, you know.
If it was in a
Including the
true
Jews.
story,
Even the
no one
Jews
was.
will say no. They don't. The
No
Jews
one
don't
would
try
be
to say
claiming
that no, that it never happened. They try to say they'll say that the tomb was. They'll admit the tomb was empty. You know, they'll just say that the disciples stole the body or something like that. You know.
I mean, unless the story never happened, in which case, yeah. Now, I don't think the guests can hear me. I don't think so.
You get what I'm saying? Sorry, I can't.
They're saying on YouTube. There's I have another guest here. I have a co-host. His name is Jaron. Or Christ Before Jesus, either way. So
Yeah.
yeah.
You can't hear me.
I can't hear them.
Oh, you can't hear him. Oh, my bad. Okay, let me see if I can fix that real quick. Okay. Why is that happening? Because I think the last guest was able to hear you. Okay, let's say something now, Jaron.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear him now? You
I can't.
still can't hear him?
No, I don't
Well,
think so.
fuck me.
It's just TikTok. Basically, the TikTok sound is going to come out as your audio output.
Well,
but you
it's
got,
worked
like,
before. Yeah, I've done this before on YouTube. It just really screws up like that. I don't know why it does that.
Okay.
Here, let me see if I can fix something here. So yeah, essentially what we have here then is what we got an issue is that we don't know if Joseph of Arimathea even existed. Like, because what independent record do we have of him existing?
Independent records of Joseph of Arimathea.
Yeah.
Well, even the Jews write later about the grave, and they talk about it. I mean, I'm talking about in the Talmud. They talk about it as if.
Well, you know what the Talmud is, right? It's like the Reddit of the time. So it was like a slam
what
board.
I'm saying is there's historical evidence of these people attesting to this.
Yeah, like hundreds of years later. What I'm saying though is that but we don't have, but that's hundreds of years later. That's like you and me writing about like stuff that happened in the 1600s. You know, we have no evidence that any of that happened. We weren't there. You see what I mean? Let me see if I can get this two-way going. Let's see. So that didn't work.
Well, the biblical evidence is historical evidence, just as much as any other ancient document of this time, you know?
Well, the problem with that though is if we don't have because the thing is
the thing is like, so once again, like my argument here is that if they had tried to just make up some person who was part of the Sanhedrin and a rich person and a famous member of the community, if they just tried to make him up, then other people in that period would have been able to easily say that no, that person was not a member of the Sanhedrin at that time, and this document is ridiculous, you know?
Okay, but what if that didn't matter? What if they just didn't care?
Or the book was written so
No,
late.
people,
Or
no,
the
but
book was written,
people
but
do
it's
care.
written so late. Go ahead, Jaron. I'm
Listen,
relaying what
it
Jaron is
wasn't
saying.
written that late. It wasn't
Yeah,
written that late.
if the book was written in the
It
second
was
century
written
or
like
somewhere around
within
then,
100
then
years.
no one who
Within-
was
within the
even
first
then,
century.
no one who was alive
All
then could
the
have
all
said
the
it
Gospels
didn't
are
happen.
written in the first
Well,
century.
see, the problem with that is that if the book was written like in the 2nd century and nobody was alive, then we have no way to verify it. Is that what you were saying, Jaron?
Well,
Basically?
that no one would have tried to disprove it.
What's
Nobody would have tried to disprove it.
Yeah,
Why would people
everyone
try to
from that
disprove it?
time
There's
period
some-
would have
there's
been
tons of
dead.
people who oppose it. The Jews, other people within the Jewish community who just don't like Jesus, or the pagans. There's tons of people who oppose.
Yeah, but we're kind of conflating the arguments here because you're talking about Jesus existing, and I'm specifically talking about Joseph of Arimathea. Because if we
Yeah,
look
that's
at
what I'm saying
the
to you. What I'm
details
saying to you
around
is-
it, yeah, but see the thing is we have no verification, and if they're just accepting it as true, how do you know that they're just accepting it as true, and they actually don't know it's true, or they actually
What I'm
know it's
saying to
true?
you is, anyone who wanted to oppose the Christian faith at the time, right, could have just pointed out that, hey, by the way, Joseph of Arimathea was not a real person.
Okay,
This
so
is
but that
ridiculous.
doesn't mean he was a real person, though.
No, it's evidence, though. It's good
No,
evidence.
it's
And also
how?
the fact that
How is it
What?
evidence that nobody
How is it
nobody
evidence?
refuted it? How is that evidence? It just means nobody
Because
refuted it.
That's how people do ancient history. Like that is considered
How so?
evidence in ancient history. Because that would have easily refuted their claims, so they wouldn't have become this popular religion.
What's a parallel example of that?
A parallel example of
Yeah,
that?
of somebody just accepting something as true and then now it's true.
Did anybody in the 1980s
What?
refute
No,
that
I'm
Harry
saying,
Potter
no,
existed?
I'm saying, like, look, let's say somebody tried to say that
We'll get the Harry Potter thing out in a minute.
Caesar never crossed the Rubicon, right? Somebody tried to say that at the time.
Okay.
They just didn't like his book. They said that this book is stupid or whatever, and they just wanted to oppose the historical veracity of Caesar's book, right? Then they could have tried to do that, but
They
then
could
people
have.
at the time would have said, "No, that's ridiculous."
But we have
He obviously
eyewitness
did go
statements of
there.
him crossing the Rubicon. There was somebody on the boat that was writing
That's what
about
I'm
it
saying.
at the
So
time.
there's people- there's-
So there
there's
was
people-
there
there's
was
people-
contemporary
there's
evidence of
four
that.
different. There's four different gospel accounts of Jesus
That happened decades later.
resurrection and death.
Yeah, but that happened decades
Yeah, but
later.
no-
And this
no,
is the
even-
kind of the
even
same thing.
those-
Like a
no,
question
wait, wait,
is
even
so
those-
a question
even
is
those
that
reports of-
well hang on.
Wait,
Hang on.
wait,
Hang on.
What are the eyewitness reports of?
Hang on.
Wait. What are the eyewitness reports?
Hang
of
on.
Caesar crossing the Rubicon?
Okay, I have something that Jaron wants to ask. What was it again, Jaron? It was about Harry Potter.
No one refuted Harry Potter didn't exist from the 80s because the book was written later. Like that's how that works.
Yeah, no one refuted Harry Potter from the 80s because the book was written later.
Yeah, the story is
It's not
put
the
back
same
in the
thing at
past.
all, man.
Yeah.
Harry Potter's known to be a fictional work. It's ridiculous. See, people that try to make those kind of claims about Harry Potter, it's just an insult to everyone's intelligence. It shows that you're not taking this.
It's a book.
Wow, you already it's a book filled with magic like the Bible. No, this
No, it's
okay,
not.
I actually
Listen,
recognize you now.
listen.
You've crashed out on my lives before. Okay. So we're going to do this. So look, Mike.
Okay, so I'm just.
So
pointing
look,
out-
Mike,
pointing
you
out
would
that if you're gonna
agree.
cite-
You would agree, Mike.
Wait,
let's
wait,
okay.
wait,
let's not
wait,
crash out again. You would
No,
agree.
wait,
Okay, hang on. I'm
Talk
asking a
about
question.
Harry Potter.
Okay, I'm asking a question. We heard you about Harry Potter. My question to you is, you would agree that in order for things to be accepted as true historically, we have to have some way of verifying it, right? You would agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the independent verification outside of the Bible, contemporary, that
Of
any of
Jesus's-
these characters existed? I'm talking Joseph of
Well, like, look,
Arimathea,
there's lots of-
any of the
there are.
apostles. we have
Okay. No, just talk about Jesus. Then there's people.
okay,
who
no,
talk
we don't
about
want to talk about Jesus because this
Why?
is the
Why?
because it's the
That's one
existence of
character.
Jesus that we're talking
Hold on a
about.
sec, hold on a sec,
We're
hold on a
talking
sec,
about
hold on
the
a sec.
resurrection of Jesus,
Yeah,
and
I know.
and
But
what the
hold on,
resurrection of
if we-
Jesus is there's a piece of it that is talking about Joseph of Arimathea,
Yes,
right?
yes. If we talk
So,
about that,
what is
hold
the
on a
independent
sec,
verification of Joseph of
hold on a sec,
Arimathea?
hold on a sec.
Well, I just want to hear an
Talk
answer to
about-
that question. What's the independent
Yes,
verification
wait,
that
no, wait,
Joseph
wait,
of
wait.
Arimathea existed?
Well, there's 4 gospel accounts, right? And the burial request is historically plausible for the setting.
Okay.
And it's not an easy
Can't
invention
verify
to
the
just come
we
up-
can't verify the
it's not an
burial.
easy invention. No. It's wait. No, you're asking for a
Independent
for a
verification
test. Hold on.
outside of the Bible.
You're asking wait. You're asking for a test. It's not really relevant.
I didn't ask for a
because, like,
test. I asked for independent
you're
verification
asking
outside of the
independent verification because
outside of the Bible.
Look, not every detail of the Bible is going to have independent verification outside of it. Not every single detail.
Yeah, but
So
you'd
don't
think the
believe it.
resurrection you'd agree the resurrection's a pretty important
yes.
detail to have, right?
The resurrection is
Okay.
The resurrection does have independent.
Okay, and Joseph of Arimathea is a central part of that resurrection, right?
That's a very minor detail.
The very minor detail. That's what keeps him from going into the pit if he got crucified, right? Because he was crucified by the Jews, which meant
Yes, who cares?
customarily.
It's still a
Who
minor
cares?
detail, dude.
It's customarily okay.
It doesn't mean every detail is going to have independent verification.
All right.
You're asking for this very specific test. and
Yeah.
if that disproves the Bible.
Okay,
that's
then we
ridiculous.
can't believe that the Bible's true if you can't meet the test.
No, because that's
Then why
just
believe
your
it?
artificial test. That's your artificial test that you just made up. It's not even.
It's not an
historians don't
artificial
go by those
test.
It is.
Oh
it
my
is.
God.
Historians don't
It's
come up with-
not an
don't come up
artificial
with
test,
figures.
dude.
Yeah, you're trying to say this specific detail
right.
must be independently verified.
Okay, I got to mute this fucking guy every time. Jesus Christ, Mike, shut the fuck up. Mike, this is like the third time you've been on. It's the third time I've had to mute you. Okay, you got to let me get a word in. You just have to let me get a word in. All right. You keep forgetting this is my life. You're coming into my house. So, Mike, when I'm asking for independent verification, we're talking about a resurrection. You would agree, and I just need to hear a yes or no. You would agree the resurrection is a pretty major event, right? It is a major event in that it's central to the story of Christianity, number one, and it's a miracle, number two. You would agree with that, right? I just need to hear a yes or no.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So that being, I'm going to keep you off mute for now, because that being the case, you would also agree, well, let me ask you this. When the Jews had someone crucified, what happened to the body afterwards?
Wait, dude, listen.
Okay,
hold
you're
on a second.
ducking my question
No,
again.
wait,
I
just
need
no,
you to
wait,
answer the
wait.
question.
No, just wait.
I need you to answer the
Listen.
question, Mike.
Listen to what I'm saying to you. Listen to what I'm saying to you.
Okay, Mike, I just need you to
What
answer
you're
the
trying
question.
to do. No, you're trying to.
Okay, fuck me. Mike. Mike, I've listened enough to you, okay? It's just my turn to talk. I've given you plenty of room to talk. I just need to ask you, I just need you to answer what happened to the body when Jews had somebody crucified in Roman times. I just need you to answer that question. Okay, now you're off mute.
Yeah, it went to the pit, man. It doesn't mean that
Went to the
everyone-
pit.
every-
All right,
doesn't mean
fantastic.
You're gonna get independent.
Oh man, he's crashing out again. Okay. So, Mike, you're mute again. So, wouldn't you think then that they would need somebody to vouch for Jesus and they'd need to insert a character in there if it weren't true? Because at the time, and Jaron, just jump in and just correct me here.
No, well, it was just some weird jellyfish thing.
Yeah, the weird judges thing, but the other part of it
No,
is
the
that
jellyfish, like it just.
oh, the
so
jellyfish hit?
yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case. Okay, I'm staring at the video ninja. All right. Well, Mike, they did jellyfish on the TikTok end, so you got to go. So I'm going to hang up with you. All right. So, but thanks for coming up. Appreciate you. So, okay. But yeah, this is like the third time he's been up and third time he's crashed out. So I'm just going to go back to the TikTok queue so you could actually participate, Jaron. So that was probably fun for you to just sit there and not do shit, but hey,
No, it was interesting.
it was interesting. Yeah. But yeah. Oh, wait, we got a Thero Ember who's going to do probably a quick announcement and then
Hey.
hi.
Yes, I just wanted to remind you when you are on the YouTube site to continue looking at the TikTok chat. Elizabeth wanted to use her coupon.
Oh, my bad.
So yeah, so just wanted to let you know that.
Yeah. Sorry,
Just,
Elizabeth. That's
but
like the
yeah.
third time I've done that. So sorry. Just totally ignored
So
you.
just a friendly reminder.
Yeah,
I'll
you still have
that.
your coupon. Yes, you do. So, Jaren, I have kick coupons because Elizabeth like hit the live goal, which means an early kick pull, but as you see, sometimes I just miss it, and so she has this coupon that she can use anytime. And this is like the third time she's tried to redeem it, and I've totally ignored her. So
You know, that kind of reminds me of my local McDonald's. Now, bear with me. Bear with me. My local McDonald's absolutely sucks. Like, they're awful.
are you
They're
saying I
awful.
absolutely suck?
No.
Okay.
Hold on. They're an amazing restaurant in the sense that, like, the management there is super chill and super cool, but they never get anything on time or anything like
Oh,
that. Some kind of
yeah.
error. So as a result, the manager, they have this stack whenever you go through the drive-thru, this huge stack of little coupons that they hand you, where it's like a free dessert or a free burger or something like that. That they're just random, and they're constantly handing them out
That's
because
hilarious.
they mess up so much they just drop the ball on something. And so we've got like a stack of coupons that we've got in our house that we're just like, hey, we're just gonna cash these in. Eventually, we're gonna have this giant fucking meal.
Yeah. Why
Yeah,
not, man?
but
One of these days.
that's the thing. You just got to have those coupons ready just in case something
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah, you do. But I've been promising to like pay closer attention, and every time I screw it up. So I am the McDonald's that you're talking about, and it's just people with stacks of
But
kick coupons now.
I'm not calling you a bad McDonald's. We love that McDonald's. We actually go there quite a bit. But it's a roll of the dice because sometimes you get that coupon.
Yeah, it's kind of the roll of the dice. So Elizabeth, thanks for sticking with me, despite the fact that I'm giving you a bad service like this McDonald's. So I appreciate you, and I'm glad you still love me. I'm very grateful for that. Okay. Oh my God. All right, let's bring up Brian, and this is gonna have to be my last guest because I got a dip. But
No, not a problem.
Okay.
Thank you for having me up.
oh shit, thanks for being here. Hey Brian, thanks for waiting. How you doing? How old are you for
Good, how
TikTok
are you?
courses? Doing well.
22.
22. All right. Why do you think? What's your evidence that the Bible's true?
I guess like the same way that if I were to tell like one race, let's say I were to tell all the black people that a couple
Great
hundred
start.
years ago, great start.
Great
Yeah, I agree.
start.
Great start. If I were to tell them that all your ancestors, there was one point where they left Africa and went to Australia for 5 months and came back. Is there any chance that I can be believed in any way? Can I write a book about that without being challenged from any of the black people?
No, you could not. Like, it would not just be accepted wholesale.
Because they would say that if that were true, all our ancestors, meaning we would have known that already.
Okay.
Well,
So I think the same way.
So you're kind of making the same argument as the
actually,
previous guy.
But
Right,
there
but like
is
I guess the
technically
other guy was a little
caveat
bit
here.
crazy.
There is a caveat. If you wrote that book and then presented it to people who aren't black and said this is something that happened. So in other words, people who don't have any clue, or not necessarily don't have any clue, but like aren't familiar with the story or something like that. Like if you came up with a story of all black people at one point, the ancestors of black people left Africa, went to Australia for 5 years and came back, and then you presented that to people in Siberia, they may believe it or something. You might not get any pushback. It depends on who you're talking to.
But the claim of, I guess, the Old Testament was just made to the Jewish people. So whoever made it up, it just wouldn't work because you're telling people about their ancestors. They're saying you guys had an exodus from Egypt and had all these miracles done to you. It's just impossible that they
Okay.
would accept that.
All right, so let's take this logic for a minute. I want to, Jaron, I was going to talk about Nero. Can I do that, or did you have something else you wanted to?
Nero?
Yeah, about the resurrections in Nero. The claims of Nero resurrecting.
Okay,
You see what I'm
okay.
going with this?
I was
Yeah.
like, what?
You're like,
There's so
what the
many
fuck does
different
Nero
people.
have to
We
do
got
with
blacks
this?
and Australians and Romans and Jews.
And Nero, what the hell? And
Yeah,
Siberians
lions
too.
and tigers and bears.
Yeah,
Oh my.
we're just bringing in all kinds of countries and races and everything. No, so what I was gonna say was then that would mean that the resurrection of Nero happened because not only was it was pretty much accepted at the time, and the reason why we know this is because every time that there was a rumor of Nero resurrecting, the Roman Empire had to put down the person. They had to go hunt the person down and unalive him because it was causing so many problems in Rome at the time. And there was one incident in which one of the imposters raised an army of 30,000 and tried to overthrow Rome. So we would have to accept then that this actually happened.
And how many witnesses saw the resurrection?
Many claim to. Many claim
So
to.
we're talking about many claim to,
20,000.
and then the other thing is 3 million. So it's 3 million to whatever the number is by the resurrection.
3
It's not
million?
comparable.
Where are you
3
getting
million
3
is
million?
3 million. 2 to 3 million is the claim of the Old Testament, and how many witnesses were at Mount Sinai by the giving of the Torah.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay.
Wait. We're talking about, okay, so you're saying that there were 3 million witnesses at the time?
Yes,
Okay.
that is the claim. Yes,
Yeah, that's the claim. And how do we verify that claim?
because once again you can't have a person making that up, because that once
Why
again
not?
it's a story about, because how could, just like if I were to tell all the black people who had ancestors and say all your ancestors did this or did that, it wouldn't pass, because they would say we would have heard that if that were true, if all our
So any
ancestors were there.
any witness claim is true then?
No, because there's a witness claim of one person that could be lying, and then there's a witness claim about a race.
Okay.
It's a whole race witness that.
Okay, so what you're saying then is the number of witnesses matters. So what's the threshold for witness where it becomes not true to true? What's the number
Well,
that you have? How many witnesses do you have to have before something is true?
Well, first of all, witnessing is definitely important, but for something so crazy, there's obviously, I couldn't tell you the number, but there's obviously a point of where
Well, yeah, but we need to know that number.
2 to 3 million people. It's that you're not gonna tell them something.
Okay, so 2 to 3
that
million
didn't
people is
happen.
definitely it. Okay. So then that means the 500 witnesses in the New Testament, it's not true because it wasn't 2 to 3 million people.
I wouldn't say 500 is comparable to 2 to 3 million. And by the way, those 500 witnesses, I'm not really sure about how that is, because there's 500 people. I'm not familiar with the witnesses of the Bible, but like I'm not sure about like I don't know anything about the Bible, but like they said like they had like other intentions or something, or they were a little bit.
No, it's just a line
or
in
something.
it's just a line in the New Testament. Is it Acts? Is that where it is, Jaron?
What? Oh no, that's 1 Corinthians.
1 Corinthians, thank you. So it's just a line. It's like an oh by the way that Paul says. And there were 500
Right.
witnesses, basically. That's what he says.
Right. So Paul is one person saying that there were 500 witnesses. So Paul will be one person.
Oh, yep. That's right. Paul said that
Right.
there were 500 witnesses.
And Paul is telling other people who never met these 500 witnesses.
That's correct.
Correct.
Right. So
Which
the
means-
difference would be the difference would be a race of a person saying that all your ancestors, not I saw people,
Okay.
your ancestors witnessed something.
Okay,
So
and-
if my ancestors witnessed something, I would have heard about it.
Okay, and who and so isn't it also true that in the Old Testament only one person wrote that down?
One person wrote it down and then told it to a nation of people.
And told it to a nation of
And
people.
said yes, and then said your millions of ancestors experienced this.
And do we have any
And-
independent writings from any of the other millions of witnesses who said, yes, I witnessed this?
Do we have independent writings? I'm not sure about any independent writings, but we
Okay.
definitely have after the Old Testament. We have Joshua, King Solomon, David. These were kings of nations who Solomon built the temple. So these were nations of people who definitely followed this Torah. They definitely agreed with it.
Well, yeah, I hear that.
Very
What I'm trying
close after.
Okay, well, see, the thing is, Brian, is that what you are doing is you are now verifying a bunch of whole religions out there, because there was a bunch of religions who followed what their like holy books and their oracles and their prophets and all this did, and they built things based on it. I mean, that's basically Islam's entire argument. That's how they say that Islam is true, because they
No,
say that everything
go
that
ahead.
happened in the Quran is true because of, you know, the revelations that Muhammad saw were true.
Right, but that's one man. That's the problem with Islam. I'd say is that it's one man. It's
Well,
one man saying
it's
he
not
saw
it's not
something.
just one man, because there were other like people with Muhammad who wrote like hadiths and tafsirs and things like that that verified what he saw. That's why I was
They-
asking you,
they
what's
can't
the
verify.
threshold?
He's the one that. Sorry, I think he's the one that had the revelation, so they can verify. I'm not sure. I'm really not familiar. I'm
And
sure
Paul
Well, yeah.
said he got his information from Revelation.
Right. So that's once again, it's believing. It's all other religions, with except to like I think Judaism,
Yeah.
is you're believing individuals who are saying that they witnessed something. The difference in Judaism is it's literally the witnessing
Okay.
of millions of people.
Yeah, but we're still going.
So-
We're still kind
and
of
we
going in a
also know-
circle because we don't know that there were millions of witnessing of millions of
Yeah.
people. It's still a claim.
Right, so that's what I'm saying. Is it would be impossible to make that claim up. We know that at least like 400 years after the Exodus, Jews followed the Torah. So you have to say that 400 years after, someone made up this thing that, hey, all your grandparents or great grandparents, or probably even more, were at this witness this and say, oh, they said, okay, I guess we'll
Where are
believe
you
one
getting
man.
your dates? How far? Okay, how many years do you think it is between the supposed Sinai revelation of the law and when, like, Deuteronomy and everything is actually written down and given to the Jewish people for the first time?
I'm
that
not
we
sure
can
the
verify.
number, but the number from Exodus till like let's say King Solomon, who we knew built the second temple, and we already know that Jews
So again,
kept
we
the
don't
Torah
know
from
that.
then.
You're just kind of saying things.
Yeah, we don't know that.
No, so
It's not verified.
you're saying the temple is not
We
is
don't
not
know
history?
that Solomon built it.
We don't
no.
know Solomon built it.
No.
That's what we're saying.
They have archaeological evidence from the temple. They know
Okay,
there was a
that's
temple.
fine, but we don't know that Solomon was even responsible. We don't even know per se if Solomon even existed. But that being said, this isn't answering my question. How many years, just take a guess, is it between the Sinai revelation of the laws to Moses, or the giving of the laws to Moses, or whatever, in the supposed story, to the time that we can verify that these stories were written down and given to the Jewish people?
Well, when can we verify? Like by
The
David's
earliest we
time.
can verify that the Torah was written down would be somewhere in the late 4th century BCE.
Yeah.
The Torah could be written down. But what about King David's writings?
We don't have any of King David's writings.
Of course, we have King David's writings.
What are you
Psalms.
talking about?
We don't have David's writings.
No, why would we?
Of course we have David's writings.
What are
King
you
David
calling
was
David's
definitely
writings?
King David wrote Psalms.
Okay, and you think that we preserved that for thousands of years on what, papyri or something?
Yes, of course. Yes, we have that.
Okay, yeah,
that's
not
yeah,
even
100%.
possible.
Okay, where's
You can
your?
look that up. We have David's writings.
No,
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. Are you saying that we don't have the actual paper that David wrote down on?
no, I'm saying that we don't have any evidence that these are copies or anything like that explicitly from David. That we barely even have any kind of supposed evidence that David existed. The House of David mention, that's something that could possibly just be the name of a town as opposed to the name of a person. It depends, because there's no spaces between those words where there were spaces elsewhere on that stele.
He's going to look it up. So just be sure to come back to the app, Brian. Don't stay away too long so you don't get disconnected. But yeah.
So yeah, there's no possible way that we could confirm that any of the Psalms were
Yeah.
written by David.
We have no way. That's on the.
I mean, they say they are, but
yeah.
I mean,
it's on the scrolls,
okay.
right? The Dead Sea Scrolls.
The Dead Sea Scrolls, the oldest of those, date to 250 BCE.
Yeah, 250. And so we have the scrolls, but we don't know who wrote the scrolls. So there's no way to know that it was David's handwriting on those scrolls.
Yeah,
I think that's what you're driving at. Yeah.
And well, even if it were copies, because I understand
Mhm.
that like someone could say, "Oh, we're just making copies of copies of copies." There's no evidence that anybody prior to, like roughly about 300 or so BCE, even knew about David's Psalms or anything like that.
Yeah, because it's true. Yeah, the earliest I've read is it's like 400 or 500 BCE that they were given copies of the Pentateuch. That's like
Yeah.
the earliest, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's what we
I
have.
mean, most scholars generally will say it's during Babylonian exile or shortly afterwards that these things are written down. But to assume that over in Babylonian exile, the Jews had like copies of something from thousands of years prior, like just doesn't
add up. Yeah. What'd you find? What'd you
they're
find,
not
Brian?
keeping songs.
Yeah.
No, so I found like the house of the king of David and that stuff. Obviously, I'm not familiar with these things. You guys obviously know more than me, but so you're saying like there's no evidence that it was actually him writing or anything. It could have just been someone
Correct.
after that like said they were him or
Yeah,
Correct.
like pseudographical things. I mean, we have stories and songs and stuff like that from wood nymphs and Hercules and his wife and stuff, and all kinds of stories and songs and stuff like that we have out there. Poems,
So
letters.
I'd say the problem with that again is that you have the problem of if David existed is also a matter of just information being passed down by a nation, right? It's not the Jews as a nation say that there was a King David of the Jews. So it's not one of the things of one person saying something and you're just taking their word for it. It's
Okay.
another thing that has to be passed down as history.
Okay.
Meaning it's not a
Then
belief
you-
system. It's they're saying history.
Okay. Then you verified that the Bhagavad Gita is true because it was written exactly the same
I'm
way.
not sure what the
The Bhagavad
familiar
Gita is
with
the
that.
holy
What
book
is
of the Hindu holy book. So the Vedas and the Bhagavad Gita were written in the exact same way. It was passed down, and then somebody eventually wrote it down, and then that was passed down more. And there's historical facts in that have been verified archaeologically. So then that means Hinduism is true, right?
No, but the historical facts of Hinduism could be true. Not necessarily one person saying that they had some revelation.
Well,
so I'd say historically,
you've given the same level of evidence. So you're trying to tell us
Right.
that, well, these people had revelations, that therefore that makes it true. But what I'm saying to you is that these people did have revelations as well. It was passed on because the gurus were passing this shit on, and then it was eventually written down and all this other stuff. So it's the same level of evidence.
no. Revelations don't make it true. I'm saying anything historical is true. If it's a thing about
And the Bhagavad Gita is true.
Thing about people saying we were all there could be true, but a person saying that this is what God says or this is what God says doesn't have to be true.
Okay. So
Okay.
So Hinduism-
just to make sure that I understand, you're saying if it is a historical claim, as in like our people did this or there was a lot of witnesses to this, then it's true according to you?
Yes.
Not that like God told me it, but that this happened in the past.
Right. So the difference would be that it's just it's not a claim about God.
I'm trying to highlight the reason I asked that question earlier about the timeline is because there's a massive amount of time between the supposed Sinai witnesses and everything like that of Moses and
It's like 1,000
the Ten
years.
Commandments or the
At
Commandments.
least.
And then the time that we know that the Israelites are actually passing around this information.
So I'm not
it's
sure.
like thousands of years.
So I'm not sure the time, but even if it is thousands of years, it doesn't take away the fact that people are saying that this is what we experienced. And
No,
I don't think there's a
no
way to
one's
take away
saying
from
this
that.
is what we experienced. They're just telling a story. I mean, there's
Right, but-
thousands of people in the Iliad. There's thousands of people in the Odyssey.
But where did the story, wherever the story started from, that point, however long after it is, that's going to be a problem because they're saying something about your ancestors, not about them. It's about you. They're saying your ancestors experienced. It doesn't matter how long after.
No, okay. How does
Yeah,
that?
it doesn't make it true.
That doesn't automatically make it true. That just means that the people you're telling are going to start believing it at some point. Because
But
how are they able to verify it?
But just like if I were to tell all the black people, however long ago your ancestors did this, it just you cannot believe me because how is it that you know and we don't know?
Okay,
It just
so
doesn't
really
make
quick,
sense.
you're asking this question, and I think Trust and I are thinking like modernly, like during modern times, like black people would be like, that's insane. But like if you were to maybe using your very strange race question, go back in time hundreds of years or maybe even 100 years or so, and then try to educate black Americans that this is what happened, maybe they'd believe you.
Actually, that is true because there's a bunch of black Hebrews and black Israelites running around.
That is a good point.
Yeah,
Black Hebrew Israelites
that's
are
right.
literally growing in number because
Yeah.
they're telling each other dumb shit.
Yeah, because they're telling each other that they're actually the true Israelite race, and that the that the other, the traditional Jews that you know about aren't actually the ones that these black Israelites are. So
There are Hispanic,
yeah.
there are Hispanic and Native American Mormons, and that is explicitly what the Book of Mormon is trying to say you used to be the Jewish people.
So as far as the black Israelites, I'm not so familiar with them, but what happened there is there also is historical evidence that the Jews, some of them were dispersed to parts of Africa. So that's where they came from. Also, it's like a group of like,
yeah, that's what they're saying.
200 people. I'm not sure what they're saying. So they are.
Well, we don't have any evidence of that.
Right. So they are saying that there are black people in Africa. You can see that, you can watch videos. There are
Technically,
massive
it's
synagogues
like
and stuff.
one like small community or something like that, but they're not really tied to the Black Hebrew Israelites. That's like a legitimate like Jewish population in Africa. But
yeah.
But that being said, Mormonism, like the Book of Mormon, like it's literally all about how the Jaredites, like some Jewish people came over to, or I guess it wasn't Jewish people at the time, but they came over after the Tower of Babel in 2000 BCE. And came over to America in a tree trunk submarine, and then they end up dying out. And then a man named Lehi comes over in 600 BCE, a Jewish person, brings over some stuff from Isaiah, the scroll of Isaiah and stuff like that. And his descendants are the Native Americans. And there are Native Americans who are Mormon. So, I mean, it's quite literally an entire religion that is saying this is history. This is where your people came from.
I mean, you said a guy, someone said that his descendants are what? Can you repeat that?
The Book of Mormon explains that the ancestors of the Native Americans were Jewish, and they go back to a man named Lehi from the Middle East, who came over in a boat.
Damn, you're making me want to read the Book of Mormon again.
No. So I mean, and here's the deal. Here's the deal. The people who you're telling this to, and this is kind of ties in with my like Siberian comment. If the people who you're telling this information to don't really have much of a way to argue against you or discredit what you're saying, they'll believe it. And when you have claims in the Old Testament, or the Old Testament claims the first time they show up are in like roughly 300 BCE or so, when there's nothing to do except run around being afraid of the sun. Yeah, there's probably going to be some people who are going to believe that kind of stuff whenever you tell them, oh, hey, over 2,000 years ago there were these 3 million of us who were witnessing Moses coming down from Sinai. How are they going to disprove that?
But why do you know that and we don't? I mean, that's the question they would ask.
About?
No, meaning they would ask him, "Oh, you're saying all our ancestors were there. Why do you know that and we don't know that? Why have we never heard of that?"
Literally because God is the one who's giving them the story. Because that's exactly where they get the Torah. That's where they say that it comes from. Is God is giving them the words to write down. That's explicitly what the Tanakh goes on to say. With like prophets and everything like that, like this is what you're supposed to do. In fact, they work into their history this story about how there are these laws that King Josiah rents his clothes because they found this secret hidden away book of laws that are now supposed to be followed and stuff like that. So like the stories are they're designed to get the people at the time, the Jewish people at the time, to listen to the priests, to listen to the people writing this story, and to believe them. It's
the people of the story.
That's how propaganda works.
But they're saying that your ancestors were there. So they're saying, why have we not heard this from our ancestors? Not that it's a belief thing.
Because there's an explicit story about how things were hidden away. And King Josiah, he tears his clothes because he finds out that there's this book of laws that they have now found that they haven't been following.
No, that's the book of laws. That's the book of laws, but
that's the Torah.
But
the Torah Exodus includes your story of Sinai.
No, the Exodus was not. The Exodus was not hidden away. The Mount Sinai was not. The whole Torah wasn't hidden away from everyone. That's not.
No. It's the book of. It's the book of laws. That's what Torah means.
That's what Torah means. Yeah. It's laws.
What does that mean? It was hidden away from them. It was hidden away from
It
them.
was hidden away, and they weren't following it. That's the point.
What was hidden away? The Torah was hidden away.
Yeah, the books of the law were hidden away during the reign of King Josiah, and then they end up finding them, and so Josiah tears his clothes.
So that could be. You're saying Josiah. So Josiah
It's
is
part of
the.
the story. Yes, they are trying to encourage the people who are listening to these stories and reading the stories in 300 BCE when they're disseminating them. They're trying to encourage them to listen to them because it's now truth, and they're trying to show that like you could have been following the wrong thing for a really long time, and we suddenly get it, and that's because it was hidden away, and we now know our past. You have been disconnected from the past because of evil, bad decisions from kings that have led you into the Babylonian exile. But we are here to return you to God. We are here to return you to Yahweh because of these books that we now have. That in fact, your claim that like this is all revelation is quite literally what the priesthood and the scribes at the time were doing whenever they presented the Torah for the first time.
The Jews. Is this the Jews agree with this King Josiah? Like this is a.
Yeah, I mean,
This
it's
is a
just
Christian thing, or
that's a story in the Old Testament. They're explaining that like the Torah can be something that is hidden away, and you suddenly remember it while there's a good king. If there's a good king, you'll suddenly we're on the right path and listen to Yahweh and we'll be okay. But there's a bad king that takes you in the wrong direction, and you'll forget your history.
and they had a bad king.
I mean, yeah, but that's what they're saying. They're saying we were in Babylonian exile because we had bad kings. We didn't listen to God.
But
That's pretty much the entire point of the Old Testament.
Yeah.
Is we end up bad things happen when you don't listen to Yahweh. That's the point. Like it's propaganda. It doesn't really have to be true, but people will start to accept it as true if you present it to them and teach it to them enough. They will accept it as true.
And they forgot not only the laws, but also they forgot their history.
Yes, that's the point.
It's the whole point.
They forgot where they were from. Yeah,
I'm not familiar with this at all.
I mean, have you read the Old Testament? Like the people forget like their history and where they came from
All the time, yeah.
God has to, he has to remind them all the time.
And he's pissed at them like several times that they're forgetting shit. Yeah.
So you're saying that the 300 BC is when pretty much the religion was created of Judaism?
I don't know.
It's like when it was written down.
Itself. Yeah.
And I see it like 300 to 500 BC, in that range. Yeah.
How do you know that's when it was written down?
Because prior to that, they wouldn't have even had time or the really the means. Because the thing is, not only do you have to have time to write something down, but writing something down in those cultures required a level of progress in your town or city or villages or community in order for people to spend time writing as opposed to
you need the idle
gathering
time.
or
Yeah.
doing things. Yeah.
Or fighting wars, so
Yes.
you need like this, you need an appreciable amount of downtime, because just think of it this way. It's like you have to take the time to write this down. And, and that's a very, very slow, laborious process. And just the amount of writings we have. So, they have to take the time to do that. And so if you're always off fighting wars or dealing with famines or pestilence or anything like that, you ain't got time to write anything down.
Yeah. That's why they suggest that, scholars suggest that it must have been, or it could have been during the Babylonian exile, because they had time, I guess, while they were over in that area, and they're wanting to remember their past. I would suggest that it's a little later. We don't really see evidence until a little later, but regardless, that's still thousands of years removed from the Sinai episode.
At least 1,000, yeah.
I'm definitely not familiar with this Josephus thing. I'm willing to bet that you may have something wrong with the Josephus, Josiah, whatever you said, that everyone totally forgot what religion they were.
It's a story in the Old Testament.
Yeah.
You can just read it.
You can just read it.
Yeah, but it's not necessarily saying that that's what's happening right now. It's presenting that as it's presenting it in the story because it's trying to get the people who are currently reading the Torah in, say, 300 or so. They're being presented with the idea that they as a people could completely lose their way. completely forget about their past and their history and who to worship and everything, and then be suddenly reminded whenever someone, a priest or something, finds the Torah, the laws. And it's basically just encouraging people to accept what they are reading right now because you've been lost. You don't remember your history, so let us remind you what your history is.
And the guy who reminded everyone, how did he not forget his history?
He did. That's
how
why
did you
it's
remind them
hidden.
of their history?
They found the scrolls, is what it says.
But I thought it wasn't written down yet.
No, I mean, according to that Josiah story, it's just like something that's like written down or something. It's just a story. It didn't happen. It's not. None of the Old Testament happened. That's ultimately my point. I'm just saying that, like,
But I'm saying it's just it's not making
part
sense.
of the
He's
Old
saying-
Testament is like a story that explains how the propaganda is being used at this point, when it actually was written down.
Mhm. Yeah, I have to look into that Josiah, what that really means, because I kind of doubt that it means that everyone forgot everything.
Okay.
Yeah, you just read it and it'll tell. It's pretty clear.
Do you know where it is?
The story of Josiah.
I don't know off the top of my
Let's
head.
see. Is that in? It's in one of the prophets. It's not Isaiah. Who is that?
Yeah,
Is it Zechariah?
I don't know off the top of my head. Chat? Anyone know?
Yeah, someone's gonna know.
Yeah, somebody's got to know. Second
May have been
Kings.
Isaiah.
Second Kings. Red Edge Trouble says Second Kings. Or it talks about.
Oh.
Yeah, Second
I
Kings.
thought it was later on. Second Kings? It's possible. I thought it was a little later, but I guess it's not one of the prophets. It was Second Kings.
Second Kings and
But yeah,
Second
it's just-
Chronicles. Yeah.
Yeah, it's telling a story about how people return to remember or start to remember again their history when they had forgot about it.
It's in like the Old Testament, like the Torah, or like after, like the prophets afterwards.
It's in the Hebrew Bible, so it'd be
No,
Second
it's- yeah.
Kings and then Second Chronicles.
Second Chronicles would be part of the history
Yeah.
section.
Which makes sense.
All right.
All right.
How is I so far, by the way, for you guys? Like in terms of all the people you've had today.
Yeah, you were fine. Like the guy before you kind of crashed out, or
Yeah.
the guy before that. Yeah. But that's like the third time he's been on my live, and that's the third time he's crashed out. So that's pretty normal for that guy. You were better than Jesse. I'll give you that. Jesse was
I wasn't here for Jesse. Was
Yeah.
Jesse good or bad?
he was a little unhinged. He was just trying to defend slavery and all that stuff, and that was weird.
That guy.
That guy. Yeah, that guy.
I sincerely, like, I forget, like, unless you said something that absolutely was super memorable or something, or unless I've talked to you multiple times, I completely forget people. Like,
Oh yeah, I do all the
like, it
time
just-
too. But
and I think a lot of that's just how I keep going, because there's so many people who come up and like, oh, you're going to hell. And I'm like, okay, cool, whatever.
yeah,
So I
right.
have to kind of have that like water off a seal's back. kind of thing.
Yeah, but it was a good conversation. I mean, I'll do that. I'll give it that. It's respectful and chill. So good from that sense, Brian. Yeah. Well, hey, so it's my time. So I'm gonna send you down. But Brian, thanks for coming up, buddy. Appreciate
Thanks for having me.
it. All right, man. Have a
All
good
right.
one. All right. Sometimes those exits are awkward. Oh, Jesse's back. How did Jesse get back up here? I gotta.
Right after you shit talked.
Yeah, Jesse. Okay, well, I got to send you back down. All right, so Mod, you're just like throwing people up here. All right, I'm gonna send you back down, Jesse. But hey, that's all right. That was awkward. Well, that's awkward. Oh my goodness, yeah, that was funny. So,
But thank you very much for bringing me up.
man, pleasure was mine. I'm so glad you came up, man. So
Yeah,
this was fun.
I enjoy sitting on panels every once in a while. It's nice to kind of hang out and not have to manage the live.
Yeah.
Just be like someone just there.
Well, it's
That's-
cool
that's
because
not bad.
when I have a co-host like that, it's actually easier to manage the live. I can actually do like more administrative shit because
Oh, right.
yeah, because like you can just take over the conversation. I can do things, but It didn't work so good with Mike because he couldn't hear you, and that kind of sucked. I don't know what
Yeah.
the hell happened there because
Yeah, I
should have heard
tried for
you.
the first time ever streaming on YouTube and TikTok today.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and it wasn't
How'd
too
it go?
terribly bad, but I just got to kind of work with some of the screens and stuff and just have
Yeah,
just know
it
where
takes-
everything is.
exactly.
But overall, I decided that I'm not going to do Video Ninja. I've tried it before. I was going live with Cyber every once in a while, and we'd have there for a bit. We were using Video Ninja,
Yeah.
and it was just I just couldn't do it. So I'm just going to tell people, hey, if you want to talk verbally, just hop onto TikTok and request stuff.
That's not a bad. It's not a bad way to go. Yeah, I think that I don't know. It was working fine like the first few days, and then like the last 2 lives I've done, I've had like tech issues, and I have no idea what the hell happened. It's like I haven't done shit to my setup. It's just the same.
Yeah.
So I don't get it. Yeah, but oh well. Hey, Sonny, request up. I can't bring you up, Sonny. But yeah. So anyway, man, thank you so much for doing this. This was dope. Really enjoyed it. Yeah. So last call for following Christ Before Jesus, throwing up some roses, throwing up some W's, some likes, blah, 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 all that good stuff, man.
Do you mind if I share about the book?
Don't mind at all. Here, let's enlarge you so everybody can see it.
A big screen.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, here it comes.
Here's the big black book in the big screen.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Check out Christ Before Jesus if you can. A little bit of a shameless plug, but the ebook is just $3.
It is worth the
There's a
read.
link in my bio. It is on Amazon. It's called Christ Before Jesus. And if you don't want to give money, that is perfectly fine. There is YouTube videos and stuff like that where we have interviews, me and my co-author, and do live demonstrations of the software. I mean, that's about it. I mean, if anybody wants to check it out or has any issues with it or anything like that, shoot me a DM and I'll be able to answer whatever questions you might have.
Hit them up. Hit them up. Well, thank you.
But yes, thank you very much to Trust But Verify. I know, like I said, a bit of a tumultuous kind of planning
It was.
for this, but I am glad that we were able to do it.
Hey, I was waiting for my food in Chipotle parking lot when we worked it all out, man. So hey, whatever works, man.
Oh yeah, and thank you for taking the call because I was like,
Yeah.
because I didn't know. I actually reached out to Cyber. I'm like, hey, everything is imploding. What should I do?
Yeah, what should we do?
And he was
Yeah.
like, why don't you have you reached out to Trust? I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna give him.
I'm glad you did, man. I'm glad you did. Yeah, I'm glad you reached out. I'm glad we got it all worked out. But yeah, we got to do this again soon. This was so fun. Man, I love I've been on your panel a couple times and you've been on my panel a couple times. This is a lot of fun. So you got to do it again soon. Right on,
Awesome.
man.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah,
and,
you got it,
see
brother.
You guys later.
All right, see ya. All right. And there goes CVJ. All right. So this
Awesome.
this was awesome. This was a lot of fun. So man,
It was good to see him on there. I wanted to just bring up the second Kings. It's in Second Kings.
okay, Second Kings.
20 chapter 22 is when
Chapter
they
22.
find. Yeah, and then it kind of goes on until like chapter 23-ish.
Okay. Oh, we didn't ask. Maybe you know the answer to this question. Red of Trouble. Godwin had a super chat. He asked when did the Hebrews first develop written language? And I'm going to say somewhere around 500 BC, somewhere in there.
Like Semitic language. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously, there's a lot of variance when it comes to Semitic languages in terms of like,
Mm-hmm.
you'll see the interpolation of those languages develop over time when you study all those surrounding cultures. So, I mean, there's definitely similarities.
Yeah, exactly. But I bet you Justin would know. Pretty sure Justin would know.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. But I'm thinking it's right around 500 BC, somewhere in there. Like when all the first like, the first books were being handed out, I would say that's when it was. That sounds about right. But it's good. It's good. It's good stuff to know. But yeah, again, thank you guys. Mods, you guys are amazing. And you kept the peace. Rainbow Ash and Pseudo V Science on the other side. I think was Blaster Master 80 wandering around in there earlier. I don't see him now, but thank you all for doing that. And then the friends of the live. We've got HLT, another member who joined on the YouTube side. So thank you for being a supporter. We have again Girls Gone Godless who was here. Redhead Trouble, another fantastic creator. You know, so a lot of friends here. So thank you guys all for showing up and hanging out with me and Christ Before Jesus. That was a lot of fun. So if you're not following these guys who are up on my panel, please do, because they're amazing people. So you should follow them. You should give them gifts if you have the gumption to do that. Likes, W's, you know, so all that stuff. Let's show them some appreciation because they're fantastic people. So, all right. Well, hey, I do have to go. Do we have somebody we can raid? I know it's Monday. Who's on?
I just found out the language issue, the question that you have. That's like 2500 BC.
Oh, it's 2500 BC.
Yeah,
Okay.
Akkadian is probably one of the earliest languages.
Akkadian. Okay. Good to know. You know who is on is well, we have Radio Spencer. Is anyone sat in Radio Spencer's life? He may be doing more politics oriented stuff.
That is politics. He's going off about Alex.
That's right. He's doing all the politics stuff. Okay, well then there's Reckless Religion. There is Deconstruction Zone, or who do we think? So we got Reckless Religion. How about we do Reckless Religion? How about we do that? How about we raid Reckless Religion?
That's good.
Yeah, let's raid Reckless Religion. So what you'll do is just type in on the TikTok side. I don't think she's on YouTube yet, but on the TikTok side, you're going to want to just type in Reckless Religion and we'll do a raid. And then on the YouTube side, yeah, she will love it. So, and then on the YouTube side, we'll do a raid of Justin. We'll just do the default. We'll just raid Justin by default because he's on right now. So that's what we'll do. All right, guys. Thanks again for a fantastic live. We got one more friend coming up, Conclips 39. We'll just say hello, Conclips. How you doing? Good. All right. Well, thanks for coming up. And you came up right when I was about to leave. But hey, we can say hey to you and all that stuff.
Got done by class.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming up. Oh, yeah. It's the fantastic person formerly known as Soy Sauce. Has to be. Yes, it is. Yeah. Okay. So we have one more. So thank you for coming up. And yeah, if you got a spare flower for Conclips, that would be awesome too, and a follow. So okay, guys, I gotta go. So thank you again. This was a lot of fun. Probably won't be on tomorrow. I gotta take my daughter to the doctor, but Wednesday I will be back. So I may be on tomorrow, but definitely Wednesday. So all right, guys, have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your Monday, and we will see you then. Take care. Good night.